After the end-of-season turmoil last year when Footscray nearly went out of existence, the Bulldogs have bounced back with a vengeance. Not only off the field, but on it as well, with a gutsy win over Richmond in the Foster's Cup first round. Tonight, however, could be their moment of truth when they come up against Melbourne, who've won 2 out of the last 3 night premierships. It's been a short summer for the Demons. They went under to the Cats in last year's first semi-final, but then took part in the end-of-year matches in Toronto and London, where they emerged victorious over Essendon at the Oval. After a bye in the first round, they begin their 1990 campaign tonight. Live football action as we move into the first quarter-final of the Foster's Cup from VFL Park. And a very good evening, everyone, from VFL Park, and welcome to the first quarter-final of the Foster's Cup for 1990, and tonight featuring the game between Melbourne and Footscray. As we mentioned in the introduction, Melbourne making its first appearance in this series this year. They had the bye in the first round, and I'm just wondering if coaches really regard that as a doubtful commodity, because Footscray have had the extra hit out, and you can see there on screen how they got to the quarterfinals. Melbourne having the bye in the first round, they've won 2 out of the last 3 night premierships here at the Park, and of course are the reigning title holders. Footscray in the opening round, defeating the Tigers, a very meritorious hit out. They won that match by 21 points. And incidentally, I should mention at this stage of our telecast that all proceeds from tonight's match are going to aid Melbourne's bid for the 1996 Olympic Games, and quite a good crowded attendance too. I don't think it's as big as the one we had here last Saturday for the clash between Carlton and Collingwood, but by the same token, as you can see there, a very good attendance. Let's check who's in charge of both of the teams this year. The captains and coaches, first of all for Melbourne, John Northey is of course their coach, and Gary Lyon has been named their captain for this evening's encounter. Terry Wheeler, the coach of Footscray this year, and Doug Hawkins, the very, very popular captain out at the Western Oval. In the commentary box with me tonight, and we say a very good evening now to Ian Robertson and Don Scott.
Aren't we a happy duo?
We are. Back as we were in London again.
Beautiful night though, great night for football, and surely this must encourage people to come to the football out here at VFL.
I think this is a great night for football. It's a great season for football, the autumn. As we quickly look at the Melbourne side, interesting to see Spencer lining up in the full-back position, formerly of Essendon. Played in the back line in their practice match last week, also forward, so there could be a bit of a change there.
And the respective half-backs for Melbourne, half-forwards for Footscray. Obviously Footscray looking for Glenn Coleman to carry on. His form in the first match wasn't all that bad. Stephen Wallace there, the ex-captain at half-forward.
Interesting battle on the wings there. We see Terry Wallace in the centre, played very well on the half-forward flank last time, so that could be a furphy. Also Andrew Ops, number 29 for Melbourne, on a wing.
And at centre half-back and centre half-forward, the Footscray defence, Eccleston, Foster and Wigney, a pretty good line against a pretty talented lineup, Flintoff, Dersmer and Wilson for the Demons.
And quickly looking at the Melbourne, there's the furphy again, I think. White could be up on the full-back line. Spencer there. Tatsaris, who played well, as did Hogg, and surprisingly Harrington in the last hit-out.
And the followers, Don, I'm sure that you've had a lot to do with the Jimmy Steins, the improvement or the consistent form of Jimmy Steins over the last few years against Cousins, Atkins, Newport, and Stephen Clark, a new player from Essendon, playing for Melbourne in his first game.
And the interchange, Ricky Jackson, Matthew Phoebe for his first game, brother of Stephen, twin brother. Good to see Andy Lovell back too, and also another youngster, John Howard.
And Footscray players, a little bit of inexperience there. O'Keefe, Kellett obviously played a lot of footy, Charles and Collins.
Right, thank you, Don, and thank you, Ian. Pretty well ideal conditions for football. We'll check those out with Michael Roberts when we return to VFL Park after these messages.
Again for football here at VFL Park. The current temperature at the moment is 18. The expected overnight low is 15. The relative humidity is 79%. There is a gentle breeze inside the stadium, but there's no real goal advantage for either team. The ground is firm and the forecast is for a fine and clear night.
First quarter action. As Michael said, absolutely ideal conditions for football. Not too warm. On the ground, you can see a couple of excess markings on the ground. That's from the baseball that's been played here. Good mark taken out there on the half-forward or true centre half-forward position by Atkins. Footscray going from left to right, up towards full forward. Strong mark to Johnson. A talented and gutsy player he is, Don.
And as we expected, changes on the Melbourne side. White is at full back, Spencer at full forward, Dersmer centre half back, and Spalding centre half forward with Obst on a wing, on the half forward flank, Flintoff on a wing.
Wilson taking the mark after it was kicked by Jamie Dersmer. The Demons out to defend their title and picked up by Big Cousins, who hooks it down towards the centre half forward position. Williams held for Footscray. The umpire calls play on. Grinter soccers off the ground. Good body contact made there. Picked up by Stretch just inside the square. Goes for the long ball. Big pack of players down there at the centre half forward position. Spalding could have been grabbed on the shoulder. The umpire says they'll play on. And a chance now for Melbourne. That's Trevor Spencer. It's a little bit different in the Melbourne jersey, doesn't he? After wearing, I think it was number 23 for Essendon. Picked up by Foster. And the state representative, Steins, got the front position. A chance now for another ex-bomber, and this is Clark. Newport at right half forward flank, 65 metres from goal. Plenty of Bulldogs down there. Mark missed. Academy Award performance from Brian Wilson gets him the free kick. I think it was there though, Don, but he certainly made sure the umpire saw it.
Well, it reminds me of a fellow I used to play with, Michael Moncrief. Michael Moncrief had that ability to really draw the umpire's attention to a free kick. And have a look at this of Brian Wilson. He's got that same ability. You can see the arms go up.
Umpires are Ron Thompson and Stephen Luck.
And Wilson kicks for goal, and is this pretty close? No, it's all clear. It's a goal to Melbourne. So the first goal of the match, kicked by Brian Wilson, and Melbourne, first blood. 1 goal straight, the Bulldogs yet to score.
Well, he really is only still a youngster, Brian Wilson, as far as football age goes. He has played a lot of football, but he's still only young, and he was going to retire at the end of last year, and he also decided halfway through the year that he was going to retire, but now he's got his act together. He put in a good pre-season, and let's hope he can continue on and recapture the form of earlier years.
So the bounce back in the centre favours Steins. Cousins has the run at it. Steins gets the tap out. Steve Wallace can't break away, and the umpire quickly on the scene to bounce the ball. Very, very close to that centre circle. Cousins doing the shepherding really there. Stephen Clark tries to get a quick kick at it. So does Steve Wallace. There's a free kick picked out of it. It's going to the Footscray captain, Dougie Hawkins. What a creative player is Dougie Hawkins. And look at this. No exception. Kicks it wide. And the mark has been taken there by Hunter. Hunter's kick over the shoulder. Steins takes the mark. Gets it off to Wilson. Wilson over the top. Chance for Grinter. Grinter now gets a sweeping hand pass to Stretch. Stretch's kick is a little too wide. It's close to the boundary line. It'll probably be taken out. It is by Tatsaris, the solid Footscray defender. And it's about 60, maybe 65 metres around from the Melbourne goal. We've got a boundary throw in.
Just having a look at Luke Beveridge down there, Ian. I'll tell you what, he's been pumping a bit of iron at the gym. Don might be able to enlighten us on that. Chance for Tatsaris. Runs out of room, runs out of bounds.
Another new player there for Melbourne, Pete. Andrew Obst.
Number 29.
Port Adelaide player. Interesting to see how he goes.
Ricky Jackson joining the throng on the bench there. 4 interchange players being used in the night games.
Actually, that was a shocking throw in by the boundary umpire there. It really didn't go in long enough. That's the type of throw that should come from the forward pocket, not on a half forward flank.
Cousins wins it down and gets a second grab at it. Footscray defending desperately at the moment. Stretch goes over. Could have almost been construed as a push in the back if you take a yardstick from Brian Wilson's free kick, but not paid by the umpires. Footscray bench. Steins gets the front position. Cousins again beats him to it.
Interesting, Peter, that Justin Charles and also Nigel Callett on the bench for Footscray. Those two players were very conspicuous when they did come on in Footscray's last encounter with Richmond.
And the boundary umpire certainly earning his money. Footscray working it around the boundary line, almost on the plate where they played baseball here last night. You can see the lines, they haven't been erased. Might be a little bit confusing in some of the close-ups. There's Luke Beveridge, he had his head taken off, and you can see he's been doing a lot of work in the gymnasium. Very, very solid looking player. This is Harrington. Hooks the ball back whence it came. Almost a mark taken down there to Footscray. Melbourne player getting ridden into the ground. Stretch, that was almost a trip. Beveridge again. Quick boot to ball up towards the 50-metre mark. Big pack of players set themselves forward. Cousins doing well in the ruck so far from Steins. Spalding swoops on the loose ball very quickly, but out of bounds on the full free kick right back pocket to Footscray.
Don, there was some terrific umpiring then, don't you reckon, in that last couple of minutes? Just letting the play go. Just letting it go. Great stuff.
Yeah.
You can hear the voices clearly. Hunter kicks the ball into half-back. High ball out towards Steins and Cousins. Steins punch away. Now the opportunity with Beveridge. Steadies, kicks it into the square. Opportunity for Spencer. He can't control it. Tatsaris, the Footscray player. And it's rushed through for a behind to Melbourne. 1-1 plays the Bulldogs yet to score. Absolutely perfect conditions here at VFL Park. Zeno Tatsaris.
Solid customer.
Kicks it just wide of the centre half-back position. Comes out at the back. Picked up now by Eishold. Eishold's left foot kick into the pocket. High flyer Spencer. Lyon breaks clear. Snapshot by Lyons, a goal.
Awesome, the goal kickers for Melbourne. Footscray yet to score. And is that a mark? Lyon again. Doing the lion's share of the forward work.
There, Peter, I think.
Yes, I don't think a cricket umpire would have played that one. He's a great kick at the football, Gary Lyon. Goes in short, looks for Clark. That could have been a free kick. Spencer, his former Bomber teammate, shoots out the hand pass. Melbourne getting to the ball first so far. Says the umpire. Ron Thompson and Stephen Luckman, the men in white tonight, or as it is now white and blue almost. The Black Sox have gone. The tradition from the game, we see no more. Spencer, some untidy ruck work there.
Stephen Clark, you see him on screen there, the blonde mop, not unlike Todd Viney.
What did you think of that ruck infringement, Don? Was that
well, it's all
Tiggy Touchwood?
Well, it's all very technical, this ruck stuff, especially on the boundary line, and that was one of those technical ones.
Ian hit his thumb in the air. I'll check on him what he means by that later on, but that's a goal kicked by Spencer, his first for his new club.
Well, I don't know whether we'll get the opportunity to have another look at it, but I honestly thought that Cousins did not have any attempt to have a go at the ball.
That's why I posed the question.
So he pushes the other guy out.
We'll watch this on replay. Well, listen, that's technical, because what Cousins was trying to do was jump that fraction early, but, you know, the fact that Spencer got there, not at the right time as far as Cousins was concerned, hence the free kick, but very, very technical.
And a game umpire right in that full forward area. Another goal to the Demons. So they lead by 19 points. Atkins gets the ball out for Footscray. Cullen overruns it. Wallace, always at the bottom of the action, is Terry Wallace, but he can't do much with the football. The umpire will call for a bounce. It's between the centre and centre half forward. There's Terry Wallace. What a tremendous player he's been over a long period of time in VFL and now AFL. Here's the opportunity for Eppleton getting back there. Left foot kick by Greg Eppleton goes wide. Underneath it is Wigney, and he takes a good safe mark between wing and half forward, favouring the Bulldogs. Now his kick puts it within the 50-metre line. The punch from behind. Johnson's there to back up for the Demons. The kick back towards the centre. Overrunning it, Wallace. Foster, back to Wallace, back to Cousins. And Cousins' kick. A thumping punt kick up towards half forward. Footscray forwards not getting much of the ball. White, great defence. Kick back towards the centre. Kick off the ground by Hogg. Leads Grinter. Runs away from Grinter. Now it goes back. Hand pass over the top. Cullen breaks the Grinter tackle. Sweeping hand pass. Puts his teammate Hogg under enormous pressure. And down he goes from the tackle by Eishold. The ball close to the boundary line. Grinter thumps it over, and a boundary throw-in will take place.
That was great play there by Simon Eishold, and I see Stephen Clark going across and ruffling up his head, a sign of encouragement and a compliment. The fact was he anticipated that was on from 20 metres away and really did go over and put real pressure on the Footscray player.
Stretch on centre wing. Centering kick. Actually would have been a foul ball in the baseball. With the line still here on the VFL Park Arena, they've been getting some good crowds to it too. Thumped away by Jamie Dersma. Not going too much further though, and we're going to see a bounce pretty well on the centre wing position, almost on the Foster's emblem. So 3 goals to Melbourne, 2 of them from free kicks so far. Rod Grinter, the last to get up.
Terry Wallace on the half-forward flank for Footscray.
Steins having a good battle so far. That will be a free kick to Melbourne, surely, for in the back. Simon Eishold getting up to take the free kick. Applied that great tackle before that John spoke of. You could hardly argue with that. Eishold's kick down towards the left half-forward flank for Melbourne. Two Footscray players actually spoiled each other. Cousins or Foster? He's paid to Foster, actually. I think I might have given it the other way, but it doesn't matter. That could have been almost construed as interference. Atkins, though, comes down with the ball. Sweeping hand pass to Cullen. He's got a bit of speed, hasn't he? Beautiful kick. That could almost be a score. Footscray's first. White fumbles right on the line, but it won't be. Well shepherded by Johnson. He gets it away from McGuinness at right back pocket. The Irishman, White, out towards the half-back line. Fumble down there by Flintoff. And the ball is over the boundary line for a throw in about 50 metres from goal.
He's a great exponent of the handball, Simon Atkin. Over on that centre wing to spot hog the way he did, and we saw a classic against Richmond a couple of weeks ago.
Obst gets the throw in. One of the Demon recruits in action tonight, picked up by Lovett. Lovett's hand pass, not particularly good. Demon tap on, gets the ball up towards the centre wing position. Picked up by Steve Wallace. Kick dropping a little bit short. Almost a mark. McGuinness comes out with a hand pass back to Terry Wallace, who hooks the ball up towards the forward pocket. Almost Footscray's first score, but it's out of bounds in front of Campbell for a throw in adjacent to the behind post. Terry Wallace, 3 clubs. He's done best at Footscray and of course Hawthorn after a short stint at Richmond. Steins getting the front position. Over the top for Melbourne was Jamie Dersma. Melbourne defence working pretty well at the moment. Road back towards centre wing. That looks like Spalding covering a lot of territory, and he'll get Melbourne out of danger.
Terrific mark by Spalding. The kick up towards Wilson. Wilson uses the body pretty well, then goes back with a left foot kick off the ground. Newport, Wigney's there, helping out is Steve Wallace. Quick kick by Wallace. Oh, Foster in a little bit of trouble there, back. Opportunity for Collinuk, but Melbourne with numbers and just sheer persistence get the ball up towards full forward. There's a free kick being picked out. Is it going down the field, Don?
It is going down the field. Infringement after Steins got rid of the ball. But really, again, technical decision.
And Jimmy Steins obviously giving Glenn Coleman a bit of a rev up there behind play. Gary Lyon has the free kick. This man can kick a football. And have a look at this. Right up into the goal square. No mark. Diving on it, Wilson. Hunter, Tatsaris. Opportunity there is Beveridge at the bottom of the pack. He flips it out the back. Spencer really going in hard for his new club. Tatsaris has the ball under his arm. The umpire will call for a bounce in that left forward pocket for Melbourne. Only 25 metres from their goal. They lead by 19 points. And Footscray having lots of trouble up on their forward line in converting past their half-forward area.
We're looking at goals for last year. Campbell was their best goal kicker, Ian. 21 for the year.
Not enough. Nowhere near enough. And without Simon Beasley, well, they'll really be struggling. Cousins trying to get that front position. Kick out by Foster. No mark. Clark can't break away. Hand pass over the top came from Obbs back to Clark. Clark is held and did not move the ball on, according to the umpire when tackled. So free kick against Stephen Clark to go to Matthew Hogg in the back pocket for Footscray.
Hogg keeps the ball on the member stand side. Grinter was the flyer. Steins retrieves the ball after he missed it. And Clark doing well. Sets up the hand pass to Luke Beveridge. Ball pretty close to the boundary line. Spalding again does manage to keep it in play. Again, Clark. Oh, well pinned down there by Hogg. Beautiful tackle. The ball spills free for Eishold, though. Centering kick up towards the 50-metre mark. And that will be a mark. Played down there to Flintoff. Now, Gary Lyon would just about get the distance. Let's see how he goes. Spencer makes a lead. Pretty well ignored. Play on called by the umpire. Obbs there. Good tackle made by Spencer. He's already kicked a goal and hustled through for the Bulldogs by McGuinness. One behind rushed. So the Demons doing it well. 3-2. Footscray yet to break their duck. Not doing so well in the opening term. Steve Wallace takes the mark in front of Eishold. Just up from the back pocket. Long kick towards centre wing, and that's a badly placed kick. The mark taken by Flintoff. Melbourne doing it easily. Lyon gets the hand pass out. Bulldog defence under plenty of pressure in the first quarter. Foster tries to punch. Actually comes down with the ball, but the umpire says no mark and a play on call. This is Atkins.
Atkins just on the defensive side of the centre. Kicks it wide towards half forward. Good defence by the Demons half back line. Now Footscray striving hard with Hawkins in there. Coming in Colin Grinter showing strength. Coleman's hand pass. Wide. Sean White. Attempted tap over to Lovett. Lovett. Very hard to get past is Glenn Lovett. Colin Coleman. Kick by Coleman. Goes straight across the ground. Campbell. Now the ball comes out the back. Sean White. Very, very steady and composed. Hand pass over the top to Steins. Steins goes wide to Lovett. And Melbourne out of trouble fairly easily. Great mark by Eichel. Down close to the ground and plays on quickly. Kicks it up towards the full forward area. Tatsaris tries to outrun Wilson. And the left foot kick finds the safety of the boundary line. Zeno Tatsaris probably would have played a bit of football at Footscray with Brian Wilson, who played his early VFL football with the number 40 on his back with the Bulldogs.
Yes, we've almost forgotten that. Of course, Zeno's had a bad run with injuries. That's Obst. Lyon, right on the boundary line. And we've spoken about Gary's kicking ability already tonight. He's kicked a lot of good goals from this far out. He's kicked one so far tonight.
What about that pass from Obst?
Gary Lyon looks to the heavens for inspiration, perhaps. You can see the boundary line there in the background. He's right on it. Distance won't be a problem. Goal umpire indicates all clear, one behind. So 3-3, the Melbourne tally. Footscray yet to break its duck. Zeno Tatsaris, solid customer. As I said, has had a rotten run with injuries out at Footscray. Favours the member stand side with the kick. Tries to find Hawkins perhaps. Now a free kick. He's not going to Dougie Hawkins. It's taken by, that was Foster. Up to the centre wing position. Good block there by Terry Wallace. And the ball safely over the boundary line for a throw in on centre wing. Footscray breaking down badly across the half forward line. Not much is happening up there for them at all at the moment. Demons very strong in defence and also up forward. Steins to Beveridge, down to half forward. Obst, almost a half-hearted attempt, but he might be able to get a chance to make amends here. This is Wigney, back to Obst, right on the Foster side on left centre wing. Wilson, who kicked the first goal of the match tonight, beaten for it by his teammate Spencer, offloaded. Centering kick though by the former Bomber. And the Bulldogs defence under a lot of pressure. And then racing the ball forward for the boundary line at Eccleston. We'll see it throw in about 20 metres from the behind post.
The good thing for Melbourne is that all their first gamers, Spencer, Clark, who figured there, and also Obst, really coming under notice early in this first quarter.
Trevor Spencer for the front position. Doesn't get it. Won by Cousins. Hogg. It's out. No, it's not out of bounds. Newport tries to pick it up. Clarkson there likewise. And also Tony McGuinness. And it's going to be a bounce right on the boundary line.
So the play about 45 metres from the Melbourne goal. Cousins thumps it over the boundary line. We'll have another throw in. Melbourne in complete control at the moment. 3-3, 21, leading Footscray, who are yet to score and really haven't looked like scoring. We're 20 minutes into the first term. Ruckman, no real result out of that. McGuinness is on the bottom of the pack and he's been rewarded with a free kick. Perhaps a little push out there, Don, was there?
Very hard to find a good Footscray player, but usually that's a sign that they will improve in the second quarter because they can't go any worse than what they are.
Cullen to Atkins. Atkins finds some space. Hawkins hand pass. Harrington's in trouble. Good tackle. Wallace. Matthew Hogg. Little short chip. Colin. Ball comes wide. Cullen, like this bloke, sweeping hand pass. Hawkins out wide. McGuinness on the wrong foot, but he does it pretty well, Tony McGuinness. The right foot kick covers 40 metres. Up towards half forward. Good tackle. Opportunity for Coleman to crash his way through. Can't find any space. Cullen and Grinter come to grips. Terry Wallace's quick kick to the front of the square and a mark taken by Alan Johnson. And away go the Demons. Johnson's kick high, wide, out towards centre wing. Gather by Eccleston. Off to Atkins. Atkins constructive, and a great pass finds Williams.
It was a great pass, Ian, wasn't it?
Terry Wheeler in the picture, the Footscray coach, and perhaps he's got a few worries. Very composed is Simon Atkins, and his name has cropped up quite a little bit because of his lack of pace, but by gee, makes up for it with his skill. Williams inside the 50 metres, long kick is wide, off to the right, and it's out of bounds in the full. So I think Williams would be a little disappointed there as we have another look at Terry Wheeler. No grey hairs yet, but come September, maybe we might see some. Sean White to kick the ball in for the Demons.
Which he does well. Cousins at the back, might have got into the back of his opponent. Yes. Jim Steins. Steins likewise goes for distance up the centre wing. This is Wigney with the ball, just about caught by Eishold. Eccleston does the tidying up work for Footscray down towards half forward. This is where they've been breaking down across their half forward line. Terry Wallace looks for a sweeping hand pass. Play on, beautiful tackle. Oh, out it comes to Clark, and that hand pass came from Lovett. Stephen Clark doing well in his first game for his new club. Gary Lyon, that could almost be 50. Yes, it is. So that will put the result of this kick, I would say, beyond any reasonable doubt. And if he does kick it, it will be Melbourne's third goal from a free kick in this quarter. Not to say that they haven't been there, but the result of poor tackling by Footscray, and Tatsaris far too late gone.
Yes, it was. I was just pondering on the fact, Peter, as Clark got that ball, he could be #1 rover had he still been at Essendon. The way things have panned out.
Gary Lyon from 8 metres out, his second goal. 27 points the difference at VFL Park. A cakewalk for the Demons so far, the defending title holders who had the bye in the first round. Melbourne winning 2 out of the last 3 night premierships. And of course, in the day competition last year, they went down to Geelong by over 10 goals in the first semi-final. But of course, they also won the Foster's Cup in London. So all in all, it was a pretty good year for the Demons. This is Cullen at centre field, a chance to put Footscray into attack, which has been a rarity so far in the opening quarter. Dougie Hawkins, now can the captain lead by example? He should be shepherded here. 40 metres out. Centering kick, Williams caught that behind his opponent, and Peter Rowe takes an easy mark.
Well, actually, it was a poor kick in the finish by Hawkins. The kick out wide finds Lovett, close to that boundary line. Kick towards Flintoff and Eccleston. Flintoff a little fortunate, but he recovers pretty well. Left foot kick by David Flintoff up towards half forward. Wilson, look at that, the skill. Unbelievable stuff by Brian Wilson. What a great player, skill-wise, that he is. Number 7 for Melbourne, looking to run on. Umpire says he must kick over the man on the mark. Now he's looking again. Kicks into the man on the mark, who is Hunter. Goes after him, tackles well. Hand pass goes off. Opportunity again for Flintoff. Eccleston's there. A quick kick, and that's what's happening. Footscray's kicking into the forward line. Not very methodical. Flintoff ducks his own shadow. Left foot kick by Flintoff now up towards half forward. Oh, great mark by Spencer. From behind in a field of 4, and a terrific mark by Trevor Spencer. He kicks it quickly up towards full forward. Eishold, really unopposed, couldn't grab it. Atkins gets it off to Hawkins. Hawkins kick towards centre wing. Dive, yes, no, he doesn't have to dive. He's quick enough to get there as Mark Cullen. The left footer, back onto the right foot. Hand pass over the top. Oh, Wigney, you're in trouble. Obst, good tackle. Bumped off it by Coleman, but Andrew Obst looking all right, Don.
He is a class player, but I was just thinking about Gary Lyon. I think they'll have to make a change, Footscray. Harrington's a bit slow. Maybe Wigney could go back there, Harrington onto a half-forward flank, or Tatsaris out. They'll have to change them around to get on top of Gary Lyon.
Grinter kicks forward. Another Melbourne free kick. Luke Beveridge to take it. Runs around the mark. Doesn't get great distance with the kick. Oh, great mark. Spalding and Spencer, a double-pronged attack. Where do they get Bennett back down there? The kick might be off target, though. And it will be rushed through, I think, for a behind. Goal umpire indicates one behind it is.
Square, both sides.
Oh, that's just a perfect set. Poor Hunter, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Spalding just jumped and got the ride on the shoulder.
Harrington to kick in, close to quarter time. And a bad quarter for Footscray. They'll have to regroup pretty quickly. 8 effective scoring shots to 0. That might be a free kick to Cousins for in the back against Jimmy Steins.
Great example there, Pete. Jimmy Steins, no arguing with the umpire, straight back into a gap to stop the fellow from kicking it to anyone up forward.
Yes, doesn't play to argue with the umpires. They're not going to change the decision. And there he is, Jimmy Steins, in the gap, I guess, that Ian was referring to. Simon Eichel had the front position. Couldn't do much with it. Melbourne player Luke Beveridge was held there, seemingly when he didn't have the ball. The umpire elects to let it go. Steve Newport has his first kick smothered. The second one was effective. Wilson loses out the battle against Hunter on that occasion. And the throw in right on 50, right half forward flank for Melbourne.
It's interesting comparing the Melbourne style. I haven't seen it done so far in this night series. It's one kick and a handball. They're not preoccupied with handball. They'd rather get the ball on and cover some distance with a kick.
Spencer and Cousins doing the ruck work. Cousins ultimately lobs the left footer. Gee, that's just about to mark the Flintoff. The umpire says no. Obbs was there. Eichel backs him up well inside the square. Spears the pass down towards the 50-metre mark. Looking for Gary Lyon. Oh, he did well to get away from Harrington. Make some space for himself. Backup support from Stretch. Almost caught. But Gary Lyon not. There he is, affecting the hand pass again. Tremendous play by Lyon. Obst. No one was there to take that hand pass. Footscray's defence under all sorts of pressure. Atkins showed courage to go into a wall of players. Obst again, putting the body in well. Eichel, excellent hand pass. Clark on the run. Eccleston, great tackle, son. And that enables the Bulldogs to get clear. Great stuff here.
Yeah, well done, Pete. You spotted that, and there was a good tackle by the Footscray player. The kick goes wide, and Alan Johnson can't get there in time. Boundary throw in.
I didn't think Eccleston was as fast as that, and he ran down Clark, one of the quick players on the ground. That was a great effort.
Terrific determination there. The ruckman now trying to get the advantage. Ball comes to the rear. Foster. Hand pass over the top. McGuinness. Close to the boundary line. Tony McGuinness. A 50-metre kick up towards centre wing. No mark. Road. Hand pass wide. Johnson. A little too high. Eccleston again. Terrific player is Greg Eccleston. And he gets the ball up towards half forward. No one home. The race is on. Follow the ball. Sean White. Bang. Go crash. And he's going to get the ball. No. Too close. But Sean White. Inspirational stuff from the Demon defender. Don Scott has a bit of a chuckle. Jimmy Steins in the picture, preparing himself for the ruck. Contest, 4-4. Footscray still yet to score. Atkins, hand pass out wide. Wallace over the top goes to Wigney. Wigney's high kick within goal scoring distance. Can Footscray take the mark? Hawkins, skill, goes for goal, Dougie Hawkins, and misses to the left.
Well, he knew he wasn't in the right position on that occasion. He tried to get it across to Williams, and Williams, his teammate, wasn't in the right position either, so consequently had to try and grub the ball along the ground.
Johnson kicks the ball in. It's close to quarter time here at VFL Park, and a great mark taken by Steins. There's the siren, so it is quarter time in this match here at VFL Park, and the score, Melbourne 4-4-28. Grinter and Hawkins have a dust up. Footscray, their only score for the quarter, coming in the dying seconds of that first quarter, was a behind to Doug Hawkins.
Line 2, Wilson 1 and Spencer 1. The goal kickers for Melbourne, 4-4 to 1 behind in the first quarter. So it's a pretty handy lead enjoyed by the Demons as Terry Weaver makes his way from the field. Foster's Cup for 1990, and we see at the end of the series a fantastic prize.
The Foster's Cup player of the series will win a return trip to Fiji flying Qantas with 7 nights accommodation at the magnificent Sheraton Fiji Resort. Travel arrangements courtesy of Elders IXL Travel.
And that prize, fantastic what it is too, supplied with the courtesy of Foster's. Incidentally, tomorrow the Glass House is hosting a big family day when the AFL and the NBL clash in a basketball challenge match. Can you believe it? Featuring stars from both sports: Andrew Gaze, Terry Wallace, Gary Lyon, Simon Madden, Paul Roos, Gary Pert, Ryan Taylor, Benny Lewis, Cecil Exum, and many more. There are football and basketball clinics for the kids and the family barbecue. And if you purchase a membership ticket and gain free admission, you will gain free admission. It will be a great day tomorrow, commencing at 11 a.m. So umpires and players taking up their positions to start the second quarter. 27 points the difference.
And Footscray have made changes already. O'Keefe going down to the full forward line, as is Justin Charles. I think it was Coleman that went off. He looked as if he was carrying an ankle too.
27 points the difference in favour of Melbourne, the defending title holders, as we begin the second quarter. McGuinness tackled well by Spalding. Foster off the carpet virtually. Coleman couldn't handle it. Out it comes to the wing position, and Hawkins. Oh, Grinter goes through without fear or favour. Eishold picks it up cleanly for Melbourne, down towards centre half forward. And Williams, who had their first shot at goal from the 50-metre mark about 10 minutes from time in the opening term, but kicked out of bounds.
And Tatsaris is also off, hence the fact that Williams is down on Spencer.
Tony McGuinness from the half-back line to the half-forward line for Footscray. Terry Wallace shoots out the hand pass. Atkins, probably their best player in the first quarter, and that's a pretty handy sort of a mark. That's been taken by O'Keefe, who spent all the first quarter on the bench. So Terry Weaver ringing the changes.
And how often do you see this? And a new player comes on and upsets the player going well. The player going well was White on Campbell. As soon as O'Keefe comes on, he's in front and has already made his presence felt.
Well, they had to do something, Don, didn't they? They were totally outplayed in the first quarter and could have been a lot further behind. And of course, they also gave away a lot of silly free kicks close to goal. 3 goals from free kicks in the opening quarter to Melbourne, and that's 3 too many as far as Footscray is concerned. Ball into the pocket. Eccleston, who played a good first quarter. You've put him in, I guess, Footscray's top 3. That looks like a hamstring, doesn't it?
Does it, Pete? No way.
He did his ankle on Monday night at training too, but he's recovered.
I would say that Johnson would not be taking too much further activity out there in the match. This is Eccleston again from a standing start. He's gone for a centering kick and a short pass in towards the goal square. Tried to find O'Keefe, but Stretch doing it well.
Stretch's kick out wide towards the half-back area. Great play there. Looks like Williams, is it, at the bottom of the pack? Atkins kick. O'Keefe again. Well, you nominated it only a few seconds ago. And here he is with his second kick as Johnson has helped off the ground. And what a bad blow, because I think the older you get, Don, the injuries are harder to get over, aren't they?
Also, the fitter you get too. And he's put in a pre-season this year. And, you know, you happen to get a little bit fitter as O'Keefe has kicked the first goal for Footscray.
So back in the centre, and Footscray kicked their first goal. Wilson puts the Demons back into attack, but a good mark taken by Hunter, running with the flight of the ball.
And Wigney now at full back on Spencer.
Hunter's kick wide towards the members' wing. No mark taken. Flintoff. Very slick hand pass to Lovett. Lovett's left foot kick. Good punch away by Hogg, but Obst at the bottom of the pack. Left foot kick by Obst. Slews off the side of his boot. It was to Spalding, and Spalding gathers well, but a great tackle by Foster. Bulldogs come clear. Cousins off to Atkins. Atkins kick wide, and O'Keefe takes his 3rd mark in as many minutes. Play on, says the umpire very clearly. O'Keefe chip pass. Clark underneath it. Opportunity for Rowe. Spots Eishold. Eishold takes the mark. Defensive side of centre wing. Kick up towards half forward, and a great diving mark has been taken by Foster. Foster looking to play on. Umpire calls that. Foster's kick wide. Wallace takes a safe chest mark on the wing area. Plays on quickly. Kicks up towards full forward. Coleman bumps Dersma out. But the umpire, who wasn't too far away, saw it as all fair, and the mark has been paid to Coleman. What do you think, Don?
Oh.
A bit obvious, wasn't it? Still the umpire only 10 or 15 metres away.
I mean, yes, that's why everybody gets involved.
Bit hard to read, but Coleman from just inside 50 goes long, but kicks inaccurately into the pocket. Wallace can't break away.
Well,
push out by Lovett.
That's the same as Brian Wilson's, wasn't it, Ian?
Opportunity for Collingham. Shrugs the tackle well. Left foot kick by Collingham. Coleman again in the back. This time was obvious, and the free kick will go to Dersma.
Jamie Dersma copped a pretty heavy knock in the first quarter too. Didn't see too much of him after that, but he seems to have recovered okay. A rather durable player. Now 4 Melbourne, make it 5 Melbourne players are there, and the bottom is Stephen Clark. A pretty good debut. Newport nearly a grubber though. A chance for the Demons through Flintoff. Plenty of time to steady and boot Melbourne forward up towards their left half forward flank. Gary Lyon, leading goal kicker in the match to date, just about runs out of bounds. The umpire said no, he didn't. Atkins from the back should have tried to punch, son. A good tackle by Cousins, or was it too high? Held
Good
to
effort
him.
by Flintoff then to hold his ground.
So a bounce to take place, left half forward flank for Melbourne, but a long way from goal. Cousins gets the front position. McGuinness through some pretty heavy traffic there, but not too many options open to him either. And to throw in, I guess, about 5 yards nearer the Footscray goal. Let's go down to Michael Roberts on the boundary line.
Yes, Alan Johnson was taken off the ground and carried straight up the race. He dug his fingers into his left hamstring. I'd say take no further part in the game.
Yes, he didn't look too good. Wilson, Obst, getting a lot of possessions. I don't know that he's done a lot with them. And that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. But Footscray manning up pretty well. Hogg in the front position, couldn't get control. There he is, the ubiquitous Clark. He's done really well so far. And spinning out, Beveridge does it beautifully. Hadn't lost it and regained it to boot it through from behind. And sporting a pretty useful suntan. Luke Beveridge, 4-5 to 1-1 at VFL Park. And Wigney is going to do the kicking in this time for Footscray. The Bulldogs not out of this match by any stretch of the imagination. The defences manned up really well after some bombardment, and heavy bombardment by Melbourne, especially early in the first quarter. They need to get that forward line going. Grinter, great hip and shoulder. Harrington, some soccer tactics in front of Steins.
Gee, I think it was Terry Wallace again too, Pete. Phew.
As we remember the other one.
That's Dougie Hawkins. Gee whiz, was that a crunch? Bang.
Nothing wrong with that.
No,
Perfect bump.
Pretty fair.
There's your ribs.
Oh, gee whiz, we felt that up here in the commentary area. Beveridge kicks the Demons into attack, and Spencer has been awarded the mark in front of Wigney. Trevor Spencer is about 40 metres out, the short chip. Atkins punches the ball away from Newport, and I would have thought that that was reasonably fair.
I'm impressed with Trevor Spencer. I haven't seen him with as much life as this for years. In fact, he's been given a second lease of life by transferring clubs.
Oh, that's
good
in the back.
to see.
In the back.
Yes, it was a double-fisted attack at Stephen Newport's back when you have a look at the replay. So Newport now is going to have a shot from about 35, maybe 30 metres from goal. Newport's kick looks pretty good from here. Melbourne's 5th.
Footscray captain still in the hands of the trainers. 5-5 to 1. Oh, gee.
That should be a free kick against Steins on that occasion.
No doubt about that. Missed by the umpire. And the ball racing towards the boundary line. It will be out in front of Clark. He's done a great job tonight. And that's the pending replacement. Collins on the boundary line to replace Hawkins. Let's hope that he doesn't have to come off, but he's not looking too good, is Douglas Hawkins.
I mean, they should have him off the ground there, Peter. His man's running around.
Loose. There's no value out there like that, Don, are you? Spencer again. Well, he made the move to Melbourne because I guess Essendon just had too many of that sort of player. Wilson fires out a pretty expeditious hand pass, and this is Obst. Let's check on the disposal this time. He's gone long with the kick down towards right half forward. Spencer was there. Wigney does the tidying up work to get around Steve Newport. Good long kick up towards the centre field area. It's all Melbourne through the agency of Lovett. Had the mark and then lost it, but fires out the hand pass pretty well. Melbourne not making many mistakes at the moment. That hand pass came from Spencer. Wilson looking for space, can't find it. Onto the half forward line. Good tackle, Atkins, and rebounds to Flintoff, who has a shot at goal, and it will be rushed through, or is it out of bounds? It's the latter option.
And Hawkins is up. He's brushed the trainers away, and he looks as if he is all right. Let's hope he is.
He is pretty tough. There's Doug Hawkins. Mind you, so is Rod Grinter.
You've got to be when you're captain. You've got to set the example, and he is endeavouring to do that tonight.
Spencer and Cousins. Won by Cousins. Colin in the centre. And the ball, gee, that was almost out on the full. But it won't be. It'll be a boundary throw-in about 5 metres from the behind post. Young fans in abundance here tonight. And all fans, all proceeds, aiding Melbourne's bid for the Olympics in 1996. Newport in front. Williams tries the tap on. So Footscray working it around the boundary line, Ian, but very slow.
Yes, the Bulldogs are really struggling against a fairly disciplined Melbourne unit. Demons not star-studded, but gee, they work hard as a team. Obst again. Now an opportunity for Beveridge. Beveridge goes towards goal. It's floating back, but it just misses on the right. And through for another score. This time it's a behind to Melbourne. So they go on to 5-6. Footscray 1-1. And Melbourne really well in control of this match at this stage. Footscray struggled. Their only goal coming in the early part of the second term. The kick out wide. Foster runs onto the ball and runs onto it pretty well, Peter Foster. Gets the hand pass out to Atkins. Atkins goes direct towards centre half forward. Who's home for the Bulldogs? Charles is there. Cullen is there. Kick off the ground by Charles. Goes out wide. Coleman intercepting well a stretch. Backed up nicely by Sean White. And he kicks the ball wide off the ground to the safety of the boundary line. O'Keefe in the picture there for Footscray, who was an interchange player, spending all of the first term on the bench. Coming on at quarter time and's done pretty well so far. He's Footscray's only goal kicker. Colin onto the left foot goes Colin. Little chip. Flintoff overruns it. He's helped out by Sean White. Poor kick, but it covers 35 metres and bounces another 25 or 30 up towards half forward. A flip out the back goes towards Hogg. He tries to flip it back to the advantage of his teammate Cousins. Cousins does well. Picks it up, kicks it towards centre half forward. Was that a mark to Coleman? Nearly. Attempted there by Wallace. Chipping in as Matthew Phoebe. Hand pass goes back to Steins. Steins kicked towards the centre. Nearly a mark there to Kellett. Picked up by Foster. Good tackling by the Demons. Good frustration. Spalding's caught. Hand pass goes wide. Wallace. Can he get the ball out? No. Spalding over the top. And the free kick will go to Wallace.
I think he earned that one, didn't he?
Really no need for Eld Spalding to do that on that occasion. Terry Wheeler there making changes, and I suppose he's got to get his team into it.
Like Chinese checkers, that. Never know where you are. Those magnetic boards. Oh, Cullen tried to get it off the ground. That could have almost been in danger. This is little Colin. What he has done has been useful. Fires the pass in. That's O'Keefe trying to dive and mark. Couldn't do so. A chance for Big Charles to get the hand pass out. Now here's a promising forward move for Footscray, but it's 2-on-1 in favour of Melbourne. O'Keefe at the back. Can he recover? Sean White does best though. Flips out the hand pass to the back. Knocked on by Lovett. And Melbourne should be able to get out of danger again. Beveridge does well. Up from the back pocket. The kick long into the centre square. Hit Williams in the chest. Oh, that's in the back now. A play on call. One of those useful ones or intriguing decisions. Simon Eichel. Now the half forward. There he is. A bit of class about him, Gary Lyon. He could have just about scored with that one. He will score with it, but only a behind. One behind to Melbourne. Gary Lyon already has 2 goals to his credit. Out of Melbourne's tally of 5 goals, 7, and still Terry Wheeler rings the changes. They're coming thick and fast down there.
It's only early days, I realise, but Luke Beveridge looks as if he's got a little bit more confidence and is a better player this year. And the other player that's kicking well is Simon Eichel when he has got it, because he hasn't been renowned as a good kick.
That tackle he applied in the first quarter, Don, was magnificent, wasn't it, Eichel? Colin, Steins, Cullen doing well. The ball over the boundary line in front of Rod Gwinter.
Tell you what, they're under pressure every time they get the ball, Footscray, aren't they? There's always a Melbourne player just harassing, even if it's only just for a fleeting second, to put the Footscray players off.
Spencer, number 38. Looks different in the new livery. He wins it again. Atkins was in front for Footscray. And Melbourne in command. Clark down towards full forward or the forward pocket. His target was Gary Lyon. Did he keep that in? And the mark is taken down there for the Demons by Luke Beveridge. And let's see if that kicking that Don spoke of a few moments ago is accurate. Getting some advice from Clark. Gee, well, he was out of bounds. Obviously, the ball wasn't.
It's good to see young Luke Beveridge doing well, because he really does work hard, and he has worked hard pre-season on over the 2 seasons now.
And the goal umpire comes in to indicate it's a goal.
So Melbourne doing all the scoring. The only goal kicked by Footscray coming from one of their interchange players, O'Keefe, early in the second term. And Melbourne go forward again through Steins. They keep their footing at half forward. Beveridge just slips over Foster on the bottom of the pack for Footscray. Umpire will come in and bounce. Bulldogs under lots of pressure. Demons doing it pretty well. We're about halfway through this second term. Fumble by Wigney. Spalding gets it out the back. Chance now for Hunter. Hunter looking for someone to kick it to. There's no one there, so he thumps it high in towards the centre. Punch away by Demon defence. Clark over the top. Stretch. Under duress. Obst. Still in there. He's held when he didn't have it, and that's the way the umpire saw it. Perhaps a little tiggy touch would, but Andrew Obst having a go at the ball. Now the kick has been given away. And throwing himself on the ground looks like Rodney Grinter, was it?
That's a joke because Doug Hawkins started that on that occasion.
Anyway, Hawkins took the free kick. There's a Melbourne player down behind play. And the umpire saw it. The free kick is going to love it. And a few little
It's the new rule.
goings on, is it? Yes, that shepherding.
And Cousins off for Footscray and Wallace coming on.
Lovett transfers play to the opposite half-back area. Dersma takes the mark and kicks it towards half-forward. Nearly the mark to Beveridge. He tries to duck out backwards. Can't get the hand pass away. Opportunity now for Footscray through Kellett. Gets it to Eppleton. Look at them under enormous pressure. Flintoff. Newport. Atkins. Picked up by Dersma. Dersma's kick off the side of his right boot up towards half-forward. It was good play by Dersma. Kick into the pocket. Foster. Gets his kick away, back towards half-back, and the mark has been taken by Eppleton.
Probably one of Footscray's better players tonight. He certainly was one of their best in the first quarter, but the fall of the ball, Melbourne, that's Steins' mark, almost 50 as well. And Tepper's becoming a little bit frayed. Coleman in the thick of things. And what's he doing here? Nearly 50. I would have been surprised if it hadn't been, Don.
It's quite ironic that Hawkins got mixed up on something out on the outer wing. They reversed the decision, bad umpiring decision. Then it was McGuinness straight after that. Now have a look at Coleman. They're a little bit frustrated, Footscray, and whether they're trying to rough it up, start a bit of a fight, and see if they can upset Melbourne to get back into the game.
Well, maybe that's the tactic, but that was pretty silly. Hit the post. You had to give away 50 metres. The forward line's not the place to do it. One behind to the Melbourne tally. 6-8 to 1-1. The scoreboard does tell the tale, I'm afraid, tonight. For Footscray, been a little bit outclassed tonight. And play on Hunter will do from the half-back line. Kick up over the centre. 3-on-1 in favour of Melbourne at the fall of the ball there in the pack. Eppleton tries to get it out to a teammate in Charles. Couldn't do so. It's hustled out the back again. McGuinness, they need to get more out of him tonight. But look at the tackling of Melbourne. That's been one of the features of their game tonight. The way they've gone about the job, they have really tackled hard. And I remember
that is in boxing. I know you can't compare the two sports, but if you work downstairs in boxing, then you go for the kill later on. The same in football. If you really tackle and harass the opposition, their skill just falls apart. Then you go on and apply your own skill.
No, I don't think I've seen a Melbourne side tackle as well as this, Don. I don't know whether they've been working on that pre-season, but they've certainly tackled excellently tonight.
Peter, they've been a discipline unit for 3 years with John Northey.
Certainly a good start for them this year. And remember, they had a bye in the first round, so Footscray would have been on top in that department. Atkins gets the front position and probably will get the free kick. He will. I like the endeavour of this fellow. He goes in. Looking for a lead. Not too much on offer. Rather statuesque. The Footscray half-forward line. Coleman, I don't think had a kick in the first quarter. Has done better in the second. You know, he did give away that 50-metre penalty recently. Down to half-forward. Yes, Colin.
Good play.
Good use of the body. Play on. Gee, he must have gone millimetres over the mark. A shot at goal. Looks pretty good.
Great play. Great play.
Good play, son. It's a goal.
Kolonyuk has kicked Footscray's second goal to keep them in the contest. They still trail by 31 points. Melbourne 6-8. Footscray 2-1. Steins, a big punch towards centre half forward. At the back there was Charles. He couldn't quite do much with the ball. Now it comes back towards half forward for Footscray, but Lovett's in the road for Melbourne. Left foot kick by Lovett up towards the full forward area. Running with the flight of the ball was Hunter. He's bumped over the top by Lyon. Harrington in late. Hunter takes the free kick. Hunter.
Courageous stuff to run with the ball like that.
Terrific, isn't it, Don? Yes. Wigney takes the mark for Footscray at half-back. Has the opportunity to take one bounce. Now kicks it high, up towards half-forward. Coleman, Hawkins, who was knocked heavily by Grinter. Dersma, tackled by Cullen. Ball comes out the back. Desperate stuff by Grinter. Hand pass out wide to Jackson. There goes Stretch. Stretch's left foot kick up towards the half-forward area. Wigney running with the bounce of the ball. Shrugs the tackle. The hand pass is a little wide. And Spalding's frustration there forced the Wigney hand pass over the boundary line. And John Northey, perhaps fairly satisfied with his team's performance so far in this match. Charles, Spencer in the front. Charles again gets the tap out. Out the back is Eishold. Eishold looking at centre half forward. There's no one home. Footscray dropping back through. Matthew Hogg takes the mark. Little chip kick goes straight across the ground. McGuinness takes the mark. Runs on, favours the left foot. Kick is a little awkward. The bouncing ball on centre wing. No one can take the mark. Jackson tries to get the hand pass out. Steins, opportunity for Wallace. He's held and he didn't have it by Grinter. And he did it pretty well, Terry Wallace. He'll take the free kick on centre wing for the Bulldogs.
Wallace and Grinter. Remember? I'm sure Terry does. Oh, strong mark. That's Obst again. And as we've said tonight in the telecast, pretty impressive debut. Good tackle by Atkins. No mark to Flintoff, so he has to play on. Look at the backing up of Melbourne through Dersma. And now Eishold running in 2s and 3s down the ground. And that's been a feature of their play again tonight. Newport that time, firing out the hand pass. Flintoff again, no, it was Lovett. On the centre wing, Eishold. Charles, has it kicked away.
They're a better side, Melbourne, when they use the one handball and a long kick to position, which they did in the first quarter. On that occasion, series of hand passes that covered about 30 metres out of bounds. They don't look as good. It doesn't help the guys down the ground either.
Trevor Spencer against Charles, down to Wallace, in turn onto Wigney, who's having a good second quarter. Centering kick by the Bulldog defender, up to half forward, knock away by Rode. Rode has to get rid of it pretty quickly. Some ferociousness, whichever you like, and the Bulldogs play down there. But this is Stretch, who always kicks the ball well, looking for Earl Spalding. Oh, Harrington, courage. Wilson, a high tackle. And will be taken by Hogg. Now it's Steve Wallace. Not much doubt about this. Up the centre wing. Well, McGuinness roves it on Kevin Bartlett. Beautifully done. And from short of right half forward, he's gone for a pass and O'Keefe gladly accepts it. He's taken 4 marks this quarter, Ian.
Tell you what, I hope he plays the whole season at full forward. I reckon he's got some chance, this kid.
Beautiful kick. Look at that for a kick. Oh, he's goal. Great stuff. O'Keefe bringing up his second goal. 6-8 to 3-1, and a good fight back, Ian, by Footscray.
So Flintoff gets the ball away for the Demons, kicks it out wide towards centre wing. Pressure on again. Hogg, good tackle Jackson, but perhaps Matthew Hogg didn't really have control of the ball. And the umpire awards a free kick to the Footscray defender. The kick close to the line is okay. Mark taken by Coleman. So Footscray showing a bit of character. They're being outclassed for about a quarter and a half. They're still in the match though. Steins, hand pass over the top. Williams shows courage. Rode, ex-Carlton teammate of Mark Williams. The short kick goes to Dersma. Dersma's hand pass over the top. Now an opportunity for Beveridge. Beveridge's kick across his left shoulder. Nearly the mark to Foster. Ball comes clear to Lyon. Sweeping hand pass. Wilson. What's he going to do with the ball? Beveridge. Chip kick. Oh. And a great mark taken by Spencer. Gee, he looks as though he wants to play footy, doesn't he, Don?
And Wigney hurt himself on that occasion.
Trevor Spencer.
The skill level of these players nowadays is quite amazing. The way that Spencer took that mark and the kick from Beveridge.
Fantastic. Spencer's short pass is okay. A good lead by Lyon. And if ever Melbourne would prefer a man to have a kick at goal, I think it would be the number 3, Gary Lyon. What a tremendous player he is. He's kicked 2 goals. The siren sounds. So the second quarter is finished. All we have to do is tidy up the scoreline. Gary Lyon will have a shot from about 35 metres on a very slight angle. Distance wouldn't be too much of a problem, I wouldn't think, for this man. Drop punt kick, he hooks. And is it a score? Yes, all clear. One behind. So at half-time, Melbourne lead. They're 6-9-45. Footscray 3-1-19.
In that quarter kick by Footscray to Melbourne's 2-5, so the Bulldogs actually outscoring the Demons by 1 point, but they still trail by a considerable margin at half-time. However, things could be worse. Interesting game, I'm sure, in the second half. Remember what happened on Wednesday night. Let's go to the sporting editor of the Sunday Sun now, Scotty Palmer. And Scotty, I guess the big talking point still of Brisbane Bears. What is happening there with Brad Hardy?
Well, Brad rang me tonight, Peter, and he is actually packing his bags, and he and Sue will be on the plane tomorrow back to Footscray. He's going to nominate in the draft next week and hopefully be picked up by the Bulldogs on March the 20th. So good news for the Bulldog Barrackers tonight.
And what about Jeff Rains? Rumour has it that he's no longer going to be up at Carrara.
We mentioned on Wednesday night first that he was possibly going to retire, and if he does hang up his boots, he will be offered a coaching role with the Brisbane Bears. So that's good news for Jeff Rains, who's put in a great effort up there.
Well, he has. He's been a great club man. Now, I guess, well, you could call him the forgotten man of football, Scotty, Warren Dean.
He should be out. Yeah, he should be out there tonight, Pete, if you consider everything. He's had a bad leg for almost 2 years. The word is he's having a little bit of trouble negotiating with the Demons and could put himself in the national draft as well. So that's a bit of news.
Yes, well, we've had a couple of surprises going into the draft, haven't we? I guess the main one there being Jimmy Cracker. But you mentioned legs there, Scotty. Paul Abbott made his comeback today for Hawthorn.
Yes, Hawthorn beat Collingwood today by 20 points, and Paul Abbott kicked 4 goals in a great comeback. Good news for the Hawks, Pete.
OK, there it is. Scotty Palmer, the sporting editor of the Sunday Sun, and the full details of those reports in tomorrow's paper. All right, let's go down to the rooms. Here's Bernie Quiller.
Yes, thanks, Pete. Footscray not out of this match. They're still pretty confident at the half-time break, although they have a couple of injuries. Adrian Campbell has a strained hamstring and won't play again, and Zeno Tatsaris with a back injury won't be back on the ground. Also, Steve Wallace has had stitches above his eye, but Footscray moved the ball much better. They showed a lot more endeavour, and I think we'll see them come out fighting in the second half.
Bernie Quinlan in the Footscray rooms. We'll take a break and we'll be back at VFL Park. First quarter final of the Foster's Cup in just a moment. Welcome back to VFL Park. Let's check the draw and how the Foster's Cup for 1990 is panning out. We mentioned that Melbourne had the bye in the first round. They are, of course, the defending title holders, and so they earned that right. Tonight's match, you can see there at the top of the list, Melbourne and Footscray, and the winner into the semi-final to play either Essendon or Fitzroy. That's the top half of the draw. Let's move down to the bottom half now. Carlton and Collingwood met here last Saturday night. The winner of that match will meet the victor between Hawthorn and the Sydney Swans, and that match is to be played tomorrow. Geelong, the other finalist last year, also had the bye in the first round, and they will tackle North Melbourne in the next round. And I mentioned the clash tomorrow up at the Bruce Stadium in Canberra, that is between Hawthorn and the Sydney Swans, and you can see that match live on 7 Sport from 1:55. And of course the Foster's Cup, rich in prize money in season 1990. The winners of the first round, $10,000. A quarter-finalist, so tonight's match is worth a total of $35,000 to the winner. Be very handy in the coppers out at the Western Oval. Semi-finalists, the winners, $20,000. And if you add all that up, the winner of the grand final will receive $95,000. Indeed, certainly worth winning. Let's go down to the Melbourne rooms now. Here's Michael Roberts.
Tremendous team spirit down here in the Demon rooms. John Northey said they were a little bit flashy in that second term, not giving the first option, trying to beat individuals in front of them. He said keep pushing hard, running hard for the ball and running to space. He wants the forward plan to continue, keeping the forward line open for Spencer and Lyon, then everyone run in and support, especially in front of goals there. Also, Gary Lyon, I noticed a bit of a cut on the back of his head that needed attention, and a bit of an update on Alan Johnson. He's strained his hamstring and will only miss a few weeks.
OK, thank you, Michael. So that's the news from the Melbourne rooms. And speaking of sporting news, if you want to catch up on what's happening, don't forget to be joining us tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Bruce McAvaney, joined by John Alexander and Dixie Marshall, the biggest and the best sports action around and behind the sports scene. The Inter-Dominion tomorrow from Adelaide. We'll be chatting to champion cyclist Danny Clark, one of the all-time greats in cycling, Greg Norman, takes a look at the new Augusta, the Milton Park complex in Sydney, and Brad Hardy and Brad Jones will also join us, and I dare say we'll be having some film of the big heavyweight title fight tonight at the showgrounds. Can Jimmy Thunder win? Find out tomorrow morning, Sports World, between 9 a.m. and noon in Eastern Australia. We'll take a break from VFL Park. Back in a moment. Welcome back to VFL Park. 6:9:45. Melbourne at half-time, leading Footscray 3-1-19 in the Foster's Cup quarter-final. And Don Scott is going to illustrate to us now what he learnt in the 8th grade on the blackboard with his chalk.
Well, probably the hardest position on the ground, Peter, to play is the centre-half forward position. On paper, that's where the centre-half forward lines up, and in the old days they more or less played in that position. But nowadays, the running type of game, he's more or less got to cover an area such as that, inside that, whatever you call it, a triangle. But why it is so difficult is because players nowadays more or less congregate between the two half-forward lines, plus the fact that he's got the ruckman dropping back on him, also the ruck rover, so it's very hard for him to find space. But what he must do, and when a full centre-half forward fires, the rest of the team fire, he must run up the ground in a straight line, attack the ball. Very difficult then to turn back on himself. So he relies on players running past from half-back or the wing, receiving handballs, then directing the ball down. Very difficult position to play. Look at Glenn Coleman tonight, not playing well. The first outing last week, in their first outing against Richmond, played very, very well at the centre-half forward position. Footscray fired. Not firing tonight. Footscray not doing so well, Ian.
Well, actually, Don, this question, I'm sure, is on the lips of a lot of people who follow football. Why is it that the centre-half forward is so important? Why do you consider... You say that when the centre-half forward plays well, the team plays well. Why do you think that
Well, you've got to, number one, you've got a focal point on which to drive the ball. Now, if the centre-half forward's not firing, teams tend to go wide looking for other options. Whereas if the centre-half forward is firing, they go straight down the, well, we call it the centre corridor, or they bring the ball back into the centre without going around the wing. So they've got somebody to kick to. Very hard position, and if you look through the years, not too many guys have held that position down consistently over a number of years.
Well, if I quickly toss it around to this team that's about to come on the ground now, they really haven't had a key centre-half forward, have they?
To Melbourne?
No.
No, they haven't.
They've had Gary Lyon, they've had Spalding, they've had a number of players,
but then again,
they seem to belie all of that, don't they?
But then again, they haven't got a real key forward either. If you look at last year's game, the best forward they had was Bennett, and on 2 occasions only he kicked 5 goals. But it's a way that Melbourne work. There's tackling, we mentioned that earlier. They really do hit hard in the tackling sense, and then they've got tremendous skill. And the other thing about Melbourne, it's one handball and a long kick. They started to overuse the ball in the second quarter, didn't look as effective.
But they've also got numbers, which I think is terrific.
Well, they always seem to have numbers. When a team plays well, you have numbers around the ball. And Footscray will do exactly the same. We saw West Coast in the last game, who weren't in the game at all for 3 quarters because of their bad kicking. But when they started to play well, they had players bobbing up everywhere. So, very offensive game, this game of football, the way it's played nowadays.
Well, both of these teams, Don, we mentioned, didn't have really good goal kickers last year. You mentioned Bennett, 5 goals twice was their best effort. Campbell, 21 goals for the year, was Footscray's best goal kicker. Bennett for Melbourne, I think, had 34 from memory, not much better.
Yeah, well, that's the proof in the pudding. But Melbourne, as you say, they do really work, and they've got a little bit more class than what Footscray have tonight around the ground.
Third quarter from VFL Park in the first quarter-final of the Foster's Cup. Melbourne leading by 26 points. They led by 27 at quarter time. Can Footscray come back, as they manfully tried to do in the second term? Cullen overruns the ball. Tackle on Newport was illegal, according to the umpire. And Steve Newport will take the first free kick of the second half. Newport down to the left half-forward flank for the Melbourne side. Racing forward is Hogg. Should get there first. Opposition from Jackson. The boundary line will be too close, or was it not? Charles tries to keep it in, tried to get it out to Wallace. Steve Wallace grabbed pretty quickly, was too. Kick away for Footscray. That was by Charles again, and this is Stephen's stretch.
Well, Melbourne haven't made too many, well, in fact, they've made no positional changes. Quickly picking up Footscray's. Williams gone to the forward pocket.
Charles should have taken that mark. Spencer to Jackson. Good work by the ruckman and Rovers. Jackson starting on the bench tonight, and 1 behind, and that makes the difference 27 points, as indeed it was at quarter time.
Terry Wallace now playing in the centre. He starts off in the centre position for the bounce down, then goes to half-forward flank, but he seems to be a permanent centreman now.
Wigney, short pass, Eccleston. They made a meal of it, but it wasn't a particularly good pass in the first place. Hawkins, who got solidly met by that man there, number 14, Rodney Grinter. And there's Terry Wallace in the bottom of the pack. Cullen, looping hand pass to McGuinness across the half back line, and McGuinness gets Footscray clear. The forward line at the moment quite open. And unfortunately on that occasion Williams not able to control the mark in front of Peter Road, and we'll see a throw-in.
Noticed young Adrian Campbell on the interchange bench for Footscray just a few seconds ago. He must have been hurt early, Don.
Also David Flintoff there for Melbourne too.
Jimmy Steins doing the ruck work. On the bottom of it there was Steve Newport. He couldn't do much with it, so the umpire calls for a bounce. The players on the half-forward flank for Footscray, about 70 metres around from their goal. Now the ball comes out to Terry Wallace. Kick to the advantage of his forward. O'Keefe couldn't mark. The ball's at the back. The race is on. Collinuk off the ground goes Collinuk, and goals. Great play, Footscray.
His second. Phoebe going off the ground, being assisted by trainers. Collinuk second goal. O'Keefe also two for Footscray. And the Bulldogs working their way back into this match. McGuinness.
It was great play by O'Keefe. The way he came out, there were 3 Melbourne guys, but the mere fact that he contested. Now we'll see here Phoebe. He looks like he's been upset by O'Keefe coming through. Gee, that left knee, I wonder if that's the one or the ankle.
It might be the ankle. Michael Roberts might have some news for us shortly. Anyway, it would appear he won't be taking too much part in the match after this. Now, let's see if they can convert. Footscray. Melbourne defence standing firm. Up in front was Stretch. Hawkins, he had his head taken off, not once but twice. And on the edge of the square, it will be a bounce.
Gee, Dougie, I wish he'd have gone for the first option. They might have had a 15 or 20 metre advantage.
Footscray captain, trying to set the example tonight.
Lobster's gone back to the back pocket, covering Phoebe's man. Collinuk.
Stretch knocks it down. Eishold. Overrunning the ball was Clark. He played excellent football in the first half. Spencer, the other former bomber. Wigney. The kick only travels about 30 metres, and that's one of those real hospital jobs. It must have taken a fortnight to come down for Cullen, but he gets clear of Grinter.
Cullen's left foot kick towards centre half forward. No mark taken. Demon defence working well. Ball comes clear to McGuinness. McGuinness's kick is smothered. Cullen in there again. Tries to get the ball out towards Cullen. He's caught. And dropping the ball, says the umpire, who was only 4 metres away from that incident. Free kick goes to Flintoff. Flintoff's kick out wide in the direction of Newport. Newport gathers pretty well. The chip kick towards Beveridge, but too tall was Greg Eccleston. And the Footscray defender takes the mark on centre wing. He plays on quickly, kicks it back towards half forward. O'Keefe. Ball comes out the back. Cullen. Left foot kick by the youngster into the pocket is perfect. Wallace looks to play on. Hand pass over the top. Williams into an open goal and bangs it through.
Well, Footscray, I guess, starting to believe that they can win this match. 6-10 to 5-1, 15 points the difference.
And Footscray are making a change. Darren Collins coming on, and it's Cullen going off. As we see there, Matthew Phoebe, the stretcher, coming out. Stephen, his brother there, will go down to Michael Roberts on the boundary. How is he, Michael?
Yes, I've just been speaking to the Melbourne doctors, and they were investigating just above the left ankle. They reckon he's broken a bone there, so that's bad luck.
Yes, that would be very, very painful for Matthew Phoebe, playing his first game. Stretch taken out of it. Newport likewise. Steins is the man to get the kick in for Melbourne. Down to the left half forward flank. And who's going to be first at the ball? It's Footscray, but Melbourne through Clark over the head of Spencer. Wilson, who kicked the first goal. Back to Spencer again. The target, Jackson, who's got the speed in the pocket to get clear. Centering kick, Eishold takes the mark. You can see Simon Eishold about 25 metres out. Ooh, they're racing up to the box. Let's see if Simon Eishold can steady the Melbourne ship. That's not a bad sort of a kick.
It's a great kick.
It's a goal. But Terry Wheeler was speaking to the interchange players, so a steadying goal for Melbourne. And once again, the difference is 21 points. Trying to go through there was Collins for Footscray, but it's a Melbourne ball up to their half-forward line. Cousins was up in front. Couldn't do that high tackle on Steve Wallace, is it not? Back to Terry Wallace, who gets the hand pass pretty quickly out to Wigney. This is a promising forward move for Footscray. It's picked up down there by Collins. Up to half-forward, Williams at the back, Coleman in front. Coleman misses the mark. Williams grabs Road. A hurried hand pass. McGuinness onto the left boot. Snapshot is close, but not close enough. And the behind no, out of bounds. It is a Melbourne free kick, back pocket right.
It was quite interesting the way Footscray built that up then. Wigney went for one hand pass too much. O'Keefe was on a magnificent lead. Had he have kicked it and given the first option, it could have been a goal.
Kick goes wide and bounces over the line for a boundary throw in front of Spalding. That's young Andy Lovell there, one of the Melbourne interchange players, warming up on the boundary line as Jimmy Steins and Justin Charles prepare themselves for the ruck contest. Ball just forward of centre wing in the Footscray forward half. Ball comes down towards Collins. Sweeping hand pass Wallace. Back it goes to Eppleton. Funny looking left foot kick is effective though, because Williams is on the end of it and takes the mark at centre half forward. Looking to move the ball quickly. Short kick, and it's okay. O'Keefe leading well. Takes the mark for Footscray about 40 metres from goal.
5 marks.
Doing pretty well is Philip O'Keefe. He's kicked 2 goals, and I must repeat, he spent the whole of the first term on the interchange bench. Deliberate looking drop punt kick, off to the right and through for a behind.
Certainly looks their best forward prospect tonight, Don, doesn't he?
Yes, well, he has definitely given them a lot of life. They had a big opinion of him last year, but I just don't think he came up. A lot of pressure, and it's a big thing to ask a young forward to play well in his first season.
Grinter kicks it in towards centre half back. Steins can't control the ball. Good play there by Charles to get the big fellow off the football. Shows a little bit of frustration with the umpire, but no decisions are reversed by umpires. So we'll have a ball up just outside the 50-metre line. Bounce favours Charles. Keeps the ball there. Good hand pass by Atkins out to Kolonyuk. Can Kolonyuk convert? No. Off to the right. And 2 goals won for Stephen Kolonyuk in that Footscray scoreline.
Might have been a little bit selfish that time, Kolonyuk, because again, O'Keefe on a magnificent lead. Could have dropped the ball short.
Sean White does the kicking in for Melbourne. That's a beautiful kick too. Steins too clever for Charles. Steins at half back. Transfers play out wide. Was the target Stretch or Spalding? Doesn't matter. Spalding should get there first. But Footscray through Doug Hawkins. The hand passes out to Kellett. Kellett from left half forward. O'Keefe again got the front position. That was well played. Coleman lopes after it. And goals, I think, or is it a behind? We'll wait on the goal umpire. 1 point only. Glenn Coleman just could not convert. So Footscray certainly providing plenty of opposition at the moment.
Wilson off, and Andy Lovell coming on for Melbourne.
Demons get out of danger, but only momentarily. Well, that should have been Collins's. Wallace, that's Terry Wallace. Short pass, not effective. Grinter, beautifully done. Fumbles, but still has time to get the hand pass away. And again, Melbourne, they haven't got quite the confidence they had in the first quarter, as you can see by what happened there. Steins running into his teammate Lovett. There's a nice old dish up behind play. That's on the half back line. Oh, Stretch kicks off the side of the boot. In fact, it almost went Footscray's way. Atkins from Kellett. Kellett again. And the umpire called it. Socket off the ground by Clark. Back it comes to Beveridge. Footscray doing a lot of good work. McGuinness, Eppleton. Footscray defender on left centre wing. The fight's broken up. 2-on-1. Thumped away by Sean White. Newport. Hurry hand pass. Obst. Down to half forward, and the mark taken by Steve Wallace. And he went for a hurried hand pass again. And that will be Hunter clearing the ball for Footscray back to centre field.
Hunter's kick nearly finds Williams. Road keeps his footing. So does Stretch. Well tackled by Hawkins. Desperate stuff by the Footscray captain. Jackson, there's a dust up behind play. Umpire calls play on. Ball goes up towards half forward as they continue the dust up. The ball at centre half forward for Melbourne. A tap on. goes towards Lovell. Lovell's kick towards full forward. Lyon lopes out in front of Harrington. Atkins gets the hand pass back to Eccleston. Eccleston's little left foot chip goes back to Harrington, and Footscray are out of trouble. Harrington's kick high, 2-on-1. Coleman's behind. Great play by Dersma. Play answers the umpire. Melbourne up towards centre half forward, and they capitalise on a poor Footscray forward attempt. Lyon's kick goes wide, and the mark has been taken by Lovell on the 50-metre line.
And Howard coming on, Spalding going off for Melbourne.
Andy Lovell, one of the Melbourne youngsters, the short pass, ineffective. Chipping in to take the mark is Collins for Footscray. He plays on quickly, kicks it out wide towards centre wing. Out there was Flintoff and McGuinness. The ball at the back comes to Dersma. Dersma's got two to help out. A push out by McGuinness. Play on. Ball finishes with Newport. Newport's kick, short chip. Now the mark has been taken by Lovell. Lovell's left foot kicker towards the forward line. A great mark taken by Hogg. He plays on quickly, kicks it out wide. Wallace takes the mark at half back. He's got plenty of space. He elects to go in towards the centre, and the mark has been taken by Coleman. Very, very slow, but he kicks it up towards half forward. A poor attempt. Williams does well to come from behind. Left foot kick by Williams, up towards full forward. Footscray player O'Keefe, but a great interception by White. And White goes after the ball again for Melbourne. He can't take possession. O'Keefe, the ball rebounds. O'Keefe goes for goal. No, he doesn't. He chips it into Cullen. It's too far. And the Footscray supporters, well, they would be disappointed with that because they should have made more of it.
Well, Sean White, what a magnificent effort to get over and spoil O'Keefe. But Sean White always susceptible to something, and he did it on that occasion. An indiscriminate punch on, and Footscray had a 3-on-none situation. They should have goal.
It wasn't to be. Ball booted away by Beveridge. Or was it Rode? And Coleman takes the mark. A very quiet first quarter, Glenn Coleman. He's battled on manfully. Stein's getting the front position. Oh, over the top. Great mark to White. So in fine form down there in defence. And Scott, speaking of his efforts just a few moments ago, Steve Newport, left half-back flank. Centering kick. Spencer. Steins. And Melbourne answering the challenge through Flintoff to half forward. Almost a wrestle down there. This is Ricky Jackson, who's got plenty of pace. And the ball taken over the boundary line. Good effort there too by Hunter. And also Hogg.
Yep.
17 for Footscray as Charles. Trevor Spencer in front.
And Glenn Coleman coming off. For Footscray, Peter Foster back on.
So Spencer to get the free. He's already kicked one goal from a free kick. That was in the first quarter. Four of Melbourne's goals have come from frees. And a lot of Footscray's tackling tonight has been, well, we could say indiscriminate at best. Some foolish frees given away close to goal. From about 48 metres out. What's he done with that one? That's going to be pretty close. Hit the post, I think. Yes, it did. One behind. Harrington will boot the ball back. Fine debut by number 38 for his new club.
Interesting if Footscray can get another goal before three-quarter time, Pete.
Won't it, Robbo? Yeah. He's been pretty close to the line there to kick out. Over the top, Spencer covering more ground than Burke and Wills at the moment. Newport grubs the kick towards the 50-metre line. The end result, a throw-in. You have to admire the tenacity of Footscray. They were totally outplayed in the first quarter. Didn't score a goal. They're behind. Came up, I think, in the last 3 seconds of the quarter. And they've battled on well since then. No ruck infringement this time. Jackson tries for the hand pass. And you can see Wigney pick it up. And Collins over the boundary line, but it wasn't a good hand pass anyway. And we'll see a throw in about 70 metres from goal.
Gee, I wish Charles would make an effort to get in front. This time he does. And he gets the tap out, or he gains possession of the ball. Collins close to the line. Handballs it to himself, and the ball goes over for another boundary throw in. Justin Charles, not all that experience, but then again, neither is Trevor Spencer. When it comes to games played, he's been around for a little while. Now Charles gets in front and gets the tap out again. Jackson's quick kick out of it. goes in towards the centre. There's a push in the back against Mark Hunter. And Andy Lovell, the Melbourne player, the infringer. So Hunter to take the free kick for Footscray. On the 50-metre line, Hunter comes wide towards centre wing on the members' side. No mark taken. Ball comes to the front. Gathered by Wallace. Gets the hand pass off to Hawkins. Hawkins' left foot kick covers 45 metres, and a great mark taken there by Williams. And nearly the advantage paid, but the Footscray player who had the ball, Cullen, was well caught. So the umpire goes back to Williams. Williams kick towards centre-half forward. Leading player O'Keefe takes the mark at centre-half forward. Very promising. Long kick, no. Slews off the side of his boot. Footscray marks on. No, it's not. Crash to the ground. Cullen. Right foot kick by Cullen's a shocker. Out of bounds on the full. And I'm sure Terry Wheeler would have been disappointed with that effort, because the Bulldogs are showing plenty of fight. They get up to that half-forward line and they're breaking down.
Tony McGuinness on that occasion just taking his eye off the ball at the critical moment.
David Flintoff played pretty well for the Demons. Kick out from full-back. Mark to Trevor Spencer is a good one. And he's done pretty well in his first game for the Demons. Plays on. Kicks it in towards the centre. This is a bit risky, but the mark has been taken by Lovett. Terry Wallace just a little late on the scene, and Brett Lovett will put the Demons into their forward half. The short kick in towards the centre, and right in the centre, Beveridge takes the mark for Melbourne. He plays on quickly, kicks it out wide to half forward. Newport doesn't take the mark, but recovers pretty well. Gets the hand pass wide to Lovell. Lovell's high chip into the pocket. Lyon, yes, a mark. Great mark taken by Gary Lyon. And look at Tim Harrington. He doesn't know what to do, because this man is certainly a classy player.
And just look at this. You need a picture to describe exactly what did happen, and a good mark by Gary Lyon because of the fact he used his body, and then great juggling effort to control that ball.
Strength too. He's deep in the pocket, about 40 metres from goal. Drop punt kick, pretty good, straight through the centre.
3 goals to points the difference. 3 goals to Gary Lyon. Footscray did get to within 15 points in this quarter. Kellett's kick from the centre down to half forward. Or Dersma looks for a push in the back, but the umpire says there is none, and a strong mark by Peter Foster. Foster from half forward, out wide to the leading O'Keefe. That's 7 marks for the night in a quarter and a bit or a quarter and a half of football, Ian.
Terrific stuff by this young fellow. He's prepared to give them something to kick to, and he's moving all the time.
Now let's see what his kicking's like. He's got 2 so far. I think he might have missed that to the near side. 1 behind. Kicked by O'Keefe. Deserved better as Coleman sits the bench. 8-11 to 5-5, a difference of 4 goals now. So Footscray still in this match. Stretch was the high flyer, but Wallace showing much better judgment at the back takes the mark. Steve Wallace out to the leading O'Keefe. Road. And you hear the umpire's explanation of that one in the background. And this is Lovell on the right half-back flank. Spent the first half on the bench. Big pack of players out there. No mark paid. Terry Wallace looks for the hand pass. McGuinness around Lovell. In fact, around 3 Melbourne players. Jamie Dersma. Got a pretty hefty knock in the first quarter. Took him a while to recover from that. This is Beveridge right on the 50-metre defence line. Mark, free kick, whatever, to Howard. He went to go, says the umpire, so it's a play-on call. Kicks into the man on the mark. And Footscray certainly showing much more endeavour than they did in the first quarter. That could have almost been a free to Melbourne. Cullen scoops the ball out. Wigney, the recipient of the tap-on. Looping hand pass up to Atkins. One of their more constructive players in the first quarter. Hawkins looking for a free kick. He did get a biff there, but the umpire said nothing for it. Collins fumbles. And the ball was not going any further than just off the 50-metre line. A stalemate develops for a bounce. Rod Grinter, the last to get up.
You don't get many kicks at half forward when Rodney Grinter's around, do you? Many easy kicks.
No. You wouldn't pinch his beer in a pub, would you? 37 for Melbourne as Flintoff around the corner to centre wing. 2-on-1 in favour of Footscray, but coming in as Simon Eisholt. Now he was tackled.
Good tackle.
Yes.
Should have given the first option. Tried to run around the fellows, got caught.
And this is Cousins towards half forward for Footscray, where Footscray did break down incidentally in the first quarter. Now this time Dougie should get one. In fact, he will.
Ironical cheers from their supporters too. Maybe there should have been a few more according to them, particularly for Dougie Hawkins. A short kick in towards the half forward pocket area, and Williams, who's led out in front, takes a good mark on his chest in front of Sean White. No, it's Peter Road, actually, the Demon defender.
Well, he kicked from about 53 metres out in the first quarter, and it just went out of bounds, so he's got a similar shot here, hasn't he?
Yes, he's kicked one goal, Mark Williams. He's been a handy recruit for Footscray. Drop punt kick. It's pretty good. No, it just goes across the face and through for another behind. So when Footscray badly need a goal to give them some sort of impetus to go into this last term, we're not far away from the three-quarter time break. Unfortunately, Mark Williams kicks it behind. Sean White to kick in for Melbourne. Nice looking kick outside 50 metres, looking for Steins, but standing his ground and taking a chest mark is Steve Wallace, and he'll kick Footscray to within goal scoring distance. The short pass is on. O'Keefe can't mark. Lovett takes it away from Sean White and kicks the Demons high in the air, still at centre half forward for Footscray. No mark taken. Williams held when he didn't have it. The umpire saw it that way, and Williams will take the free kick for Footscray about 40 metres from goal, and maybe on this occasion he can convert for the Bulldogs.
Well, that's a big if there. There's a free kick. Footscray have kicked 2-5 this quarter. 2-5.
After 3 straight in the second term, Don.
And also they only kicked 1 point to this end in the first term.
And Tony McGuinness going off too.
Mark Williams, drop punt kick. Again he misses. And this is a bad miss, out of bounds on the full. 1 goal 2 to Mark Williams, or 1 goal 1 rather, and out of bounds on the full. The short kick in goes to Road. Road plays on quickly, kicks it towards centre wing. No mark. Gathered by Hawkins, off to Eppleton. He's crunched by Steins. Ball runs free. Colin on the bottom of the pack. And trip, maybe, is against Stephen Stretch. Free kick will go to Colin. Perhaps Footscray just getting the umpire's decisions a little bit done in the last few minutes.
Well, that could have been the evener up, because Steins definitely, that was a high tackle which he laid a couple of minutes, well, not a minute, a couple of seconds earlier.
Colin towards centre half forward. Gatherers by Clark for Melbourne. Lovett, hand pass over the top to Stretch. Always seems to be able to get his kick away, Stephen Stretch. Wasn't a bad one either, but unable to control it was Eishold, and the ball goes over for a boundary throw in on centre wing.
Tony McGuinness replaced by Colin with a move made by Footscray just a couple of moments back. And Colin got that free kick, as we saw on centre wing. It's big Charles. Down it comes to Hogg. That's a great mark. Foster, fine aerialist. He's on centre wing at the moment, right on the Foster side. Beautiful kick by Foster, but unfortunately no avail as Road takes the mark. And at three-quarter time, the Bulldogs still in the hunt, but they trailed by 23 points. That's the closest they've been. 8-11 to 5-6. Getting nectar at Footscray in the third quarter. They kicked 2-5 to 2-2, and they trailed by 23 points. That's the closest they've been at a break. During the quarter, though, they did get to within 15 points as Terry Wheeler makes a few points out in the middle. Don't forget, tomorrow, non-stop 7 sports action with the Foster's Cup match between Hawthorn and Sydney. That's live from Canberra, followed by round 1 of the Shell Ultra Touring Car Championship at Amaroo Park. The action starts with the footy at 1:55 Eastern, followed by the Tourers at 4:30. And on Sunday week, the season of speed continues with the mind-numbing action of NASCAR live from Calder Park Thunderdome. The world's finest drivers in their Pontiac Chevys, Ford Thunderbirds. What a great machine. And the Buicks against the tough Australians and their machines. Great viewing at 280 km/h. NASCAR soon to 7 Sport. And on Sunday, March the 11th, the Giants of Sport are back. The Kmart Aussie Basketball Classic. The country's top teams battle it out in their home state to earn the right to play in the grand final in Sydney later in the month. Launch an exciting new NBL season exclusively on 7. 23 points the difference. John Northey goes back to his perch. Likewise does Terry Wheeler. And so we're set for, I think, an exciting last quarter. Let's go down to Michael Robertson, Bernie Quinn.
Well, Melbourne know they're in a pretty tough game, and John Northey told them so in no uncertain terms. He said they had 2 or more players up, which was poor football. The forward line, they've got to bring the ball in better to pinpoint their leads, and also they need a better effort out of the centre in this last quarter.
Well, they're pretty excited in the Footscray camp. They feel that they've got a big chance to win this match. All they need to do is keep the forward line open. Melbourne was starting to tire and making mistakes, and Footscray in with a chance, they feel, in this last quarter.
23 points the difference as we begin the final term of the first quarter final of the Foster's Cup. Can Footscray come back? They got off to a shocking start when they trailed by 27 points at quarter time as Hunter takes the mark for Footscray on the half-back line.
Well, the player we gave a rap to from Melbourne, Obbs, making his first appearance for the Demons, is off the ground.
Terry Wallace at centre half-back. Goes for distance with the kick, but it's all Melbourne. Jimmy Steins. Chips it in short. Newport on centre wing. And this is Stephen Stretch, who can kick the ball the proverbial country mile. Howard, number 51, underneath it. But a good solid mark by Wigney.
Great mark.
Wigney from the right half-back flank for Footscray. The Bulldogs trailing by 23 points, so 4 goals in it. Over the top, Jamie Dersma, a wild hand pass, goes to Terry Wallace, who tried to get rid of it, looked for the free kick, didn't get one. That could have almost been too high. The umpire says no, play on. Grinter does. Down towards half-forward, and a good mark taken by Howard. Eishold, almost. Roll the ball. Beveridge grabbed. Pretty much a scramble down there at the moment. Jackson on the bottom of the pack. Beveridge again. Carriage shown by Eishold, but he runs into a brick wall in Harrington. The ball picked up and booted further forward. No score. Says the boundary umpire. And it'll be a throw in next to the behind post. So Footscray have got to get the first goal. Danger for them down there in the Melbourne left forward pocket. Spencer, who's made a great debut tonight for the Demons, just about best on ground. Newport has a shot at goal. He's kicked it right across the face and out of bounds on the other side. And so a free kick to Footscray in the left back pocket.
It was really a bad kick by Newport on that occasion. He really didn't have pressure, had a fair amount of time. He should have made a score.
Harrington from left back pocket, long kick to the 50-metre line.
High over the pack, the Bulldogs can't take the mark. Tap on there by Spalding, goes wide to Clark. Kellett, push in the back, no, not paid. McGuinness gets it out to Kellett. Kellett can run, but he gets the hand pass back to the advantage of McGuinness. McGuinness on the left foot, nice looking kick into the pocket, but a great interception by Dersma, who never at any stage took his eye off the ball and taps it over for a boundary throw-in.
Brian Wilson about to come on. Simon Eishold going off for Melbourne.
So the ball at half forward for Footscray, about 55 metres around from their goal. Foster doing the ruck work. Up over the top was Steins. Too tall for the Footscray player, and he thumps it back over the line. Terry Wheeler trying to get a message down to the bench. It's early doors in the final term here at VFL Park. Foster doing the ruck work. Colin out to Atkins. Atkins, a long hand pass. Not good enough, looking for Steve Wallace. Kick off the ground by Steins. Back towards the centre. Coming out was Howard. Charles in there for Footscray. Howard maybe free kick. Yes, it is. It's a free kick for the Melbourne youngster. And John Howard will take it on centre wing. Between centre wing and the centre. Likely looking Colt, left footer. Kicks at 50 metres up towards half forward. Wilson.
Oh,
sweeping hand pass. Lovell. Being forced to kick with the left foot. Goes for goal, Andy Lovell, and he may have put it through. It's a goal.
First goal, and giving Melbourne some breathing space. Just under 17 minutes left in this match. So Footscray, if they're going to get anywhere near the Melbourne side, need to get a rattle on fairly quickly. Big pack of players at full forward. White takes the hand pass from Lovett up towards midfield again. This is Atkins. A short kick to half forward, and the mark is taken by Kovalyuk, who's kicked 2 goals for Footscray so far tonight. 2 goals also coming from O'Keefe and 1 to Williams out of their total of 5. O'Keefe making the lead but ignored. Now he decides to run on. That was well played. Let's see if he can score the goal. It's a wobbly looking punt. A mongrel punt we'll call it, but it's a goal. A great kick by the young rover.
It's the second time he's done that too, Peter. He was in trouble in, I think, the second quarter, wasn't it?
9-11.
Where he ran past the player on the mark.
Watch it again.
We just watched this on replay. I thought, I wonder why he's going to the right. And he's going to try and hook the ball back, but he really did have the situation summed up pretty well, and must have a lot of confidence in his ability and his speed over the first couple of yards to do exactly what he did.
Don't think he's got too much confidence in his ability to kick 50 metres, though, do you, Pete?
That's pretty right. He's got 3 goals, 65 to 42 now as Steins knocks Melbourne forward. Stretch overruns it. Chance out there for Spencer. Howard picks the ball up. He'll try to get out a hand pass, which he did. Lovell, who kicked Melbourne's last goal, once again on the left foot. Lyon doubling back for a great mark over Harrington.
Great play, Gary Lyon. The little chip pass is unselfish football, and he's given Newport the opportunity on a better angle.
That whole build-up was very good by Melbourne. Steins to get it out to Spencer, Spencer to Lovell, Lovell to Lyon, and Lyon to Newport.
Is Andy Lovell quite a talented player off both sides of his body, and it was a nice little left foot pass. Gary Lyon making the mark look easy, and now the ball with Newport about 25 metres from goal. Slight angle. Newport shot. Goal umpire doesn't move. Another goal to Melbourne. So Melbourne just seemed to have all the answers the early part of this last quarter. Justin Charles pretty desperate to get this centre knockout, and he does so. Wilson back with Steins. Short kick. Howard. Crash goes Hogg. Howard still after it. Left foot kick by Howard into the pocket. Lyon out in front. Can't control it. Ball comes back. Little kick off the ground by Lovell. Stephen Clark. Hogg's there for Footscray. Hand passes towards Harrington. Just gets his foot to the ball. It's smothered by Lyon. Over the top. Oh, was that a mark? It should be, I would think. Newport in front, juggled and brought it down. Newport just inside 50 metres. He's kicked 2 goals. Chance to kick his third. Not too confident. Goes for the short pass. Stretch or run up towards the 50-metre line. Get past his opponent. With a left foot kick goes Stephen Stretch and pings it.
Stretch's first goal, and Melbourne starting to exert their supremacy. 11-11 to 6-6.
Great play there by Stretch. And isn't it amazing when he's on his own how the Melbourne players give him the chance to get the ball, because he runs so well and kicks beautifully with either foot. And have a look at that. Left foot kick by Stephen Stretch, and it is fantastic stuff by the Demons.
Making it hard for Footscray. Foster's Cup quarter-final, 14-14 left in the game. That's a scramble. And Ricky Jackson, the last to get up. So we start again. Charles wins it down. Road. A blind hand pass over the top. Clever knock on by Spencer, picked up by Wilson. Looking for options. Might have been just a little bit slow or selfish to get rid of it. But it's still very much a Melbourne ball deep into their forward pocket. Newport. Paddled out the back. Wilson. Who else?
Really, Peter, Brian Wilson had 2 options. He just tried to do it by himself then. The quick handball was the best option. He tried to play the field. He's just not quick enough nowadays. He's got to use his hands more as he did earlier.
So a bounce. Right half forward flank for Melbourne. Coleman from a standing start. Wobbly punt. Mark taken by Steins. Kicks it back and a centering kick at that. Coleman should be paid the mark in the last blood of defence he has.
Pretty good effort there by Coleman to stand his ground in front of the pack.
Formerly of Fitzroy, then of the Sydney Swans, Glenn Coleman. From full back to the member stand flank. One-on-one duel. He's out of bounds, and Terry Wallace or Lovett able to bring the ball down.
Former club mates, not teammates, but club mates from Hawthorn. Lovett in the thirds. I think he was captain of the thirds, if my memory serves me correctly. And Wallace, a great centre man.
Yes, you're right, Don. Howard. Lovell. Over the top of Glenn Coleman. Oh, Beveridge burst his way through. Tried to get the hand pass to Jackson, but Steve Wallace was in the road. Gets clear of Newport. That could be out of bounds on the full. Nearly. And it bounced about 10 centimetres inside the line. So Melbourne doing everything right so far in the last quarter. After they led at three-quarter time by 23 points. Footscray haven't been able to put too much pressure on them at all. Newport, Jackson out in front of goal. Now 2 Footscray players are there. Hunter should get there first. He should be shepherded by Wallace. He is.
Now, Gary Lyon was pushing players off the ball 20 metres away, shepherding. I thought there was a free kick for that nowadays.
Nicky Jackson getting a nice little bump there behind play. Peter Road. There's a wrestle behind play too. Looks like Gary Lyon might be one of them down there in the forward pocket. And Newport comes in. They're starting to develop down there. Harrington's on the bottom of the pack. Sharking it for Melbourne. That was Clark. Wallace close to the boundary line with Jackson. It's out of bounds for a throw-in.
I think Tim Harrington was too impressed with some of those shepherds that Gary Lyon was laying earlier. And I've got to agree. The rule is 3 metres, not 5 metres. You're allowed to shepherd 3 metres from the player with the ball nowadays.
Boundary throw in the left forward pocket for Melbourne. Stephen Wallace can't break clear. Pretty good tackle laid on him there by Stephen Newport. Had no chance whatsoever of getting out of there. So the umpire will call for a bounce about 20 metres out from the Melbourne goal. High over the top, Spencer. Gathered by Newport. That could have been over the shoulder against Charles. McGuinness fighting hard. Gets the ball out towards Coleman. Kick comes towards Eccleston. Gathered by Road. He's held when he didn't have it. Feeds it out towards Clark. He's looking for the free kick. Umpire allows play to go on, and that was a pretty good effort by umpire Stephen Luckman there. He summed that up pretty well, but this time he calls for a bounce. So it's in the opposite forward pocket. Bounce not quite so good. Throwing himself on the ball was Wilson. Called in there for Footscray. McGuinness can't break clear. Good, tough stuff there by Melbourne. Jackson gets it to Road. Rhodes kick up towards the forward pocket. Lyon, snapshot by Gary Lyon, misses to the right. And his personal tally now is 3 goals 3.
Road obviously playing on the forward line and trying to pick that up half forward flank. And Earl Spalding in the back pocket, Road's original position.
We've got Newport there and Road. All we need is Ivan. Steins at the back. Stretch from half forward, and he can kick the ball long. Stephen Stretch, beautiful kick of the football. Lovell in front, went up one-handed, couldn't mark it. Wigney takes the hand pass from Eccleston. Long kick, gets the Bulldogs out of danger on towards centre wing. Glenn Coleman. Oh, stand your ground, son. Centering kick. Stretch again. And it's all Melbourne. Grinter to half forward. Eccleston once more. Started well. There he is. Stephen Stretch from one side of the ground to the other.
Peter, just twice in the last 20 seconds, Footscray had the chance to kick the ball direct to their teammates. Shocking kicks by Coleman and Eccleston.
Atkins. Not so much education in that either. Jackson. Not a particularly good hand pass. And the ball cleared by Kellett. Back to centre wing. Chance for Footscray's Williams. He might get the free kick. A former Carlton player.
Professionally done by Stretch.
McGuinness. He was taken from the field. I think disciplinary reasons in the third quarter. He came back fairly quickly.
Simon Atkins off for Footscray. Collins coming on. Grinter off for Melbourne.
McGuinness into the square. O'Keefe had to beat about 3 opponents. Now can Hawkins do something? The Hawk, the skipper, has gold, brings a smile to his face.
Rodney Grinter on the interchange bench there for Melbourne, looking pretty pleased with his efforts this evening.
Looks as though he's worn one too, Ian.
Well, he's always in the thick of things, and it's going to happen, I guess. 30 points, Melbourne's advantage. Foster gathers the ball, can't break clear. Hogg, quick kick, Cullen overruns it. Obst is in there, kick off the ground by Obst. Ball finishes with Newport. Newport's kick from a standing start up towards full forward. Lyon comes out and backs himself. Clark interfered with by Harrington, and the free kick will go to Clark, and it looked pretty obvious. Harrington obviously seeing that if he couldn't stop Stephen Clark, the Melbourne player was going to run into an open goal, and a chance now for Clark from 40 metres. Drop punt kick looks pretty good, and Clark kicks a goal for Melbourne.
Stephen Clark's first goal for his new club. Melbourne's 12th. 12-12, 84 to 7-6, 48.
Well, Clark had a really good first quarter. Second quarter not so good, but he has died out of the game. Maybe the adrenaline has worn off a little bit. Maybe he was playing on that initially, his first appearance from the club. But on that occasion, Tim Harrington really didn't have any other option, because as the commentators called Peter and Ian, he would have run into an open goal, and Harrington had to do something.
Stephen Clark, the 9th goal kicker for Melbourne out of their total of 12. So they certainly have been shared, haven't they? As the mark is taken for Footscray by Wigney on the defensive 50-metre line. Getting towards siren time in this match, so it will mean that Melbourne will go through to the semi-finals of the Foster's Cup for the second year in succession. Glenn Coleman taking the mark. He had a slow start to the match. Has got better the longer the match has gone. Coleman to left half-forward flank. Two Melbourne players up and spoiled each other. Has left it for Terry Wallace to have a shot at goal from a standing start, but he has missed what we could term almost a sitter. 7-7 to 12-12. 35 points the difference. So the Demons have increased their lead from 23 points at the final change as Jamie Dersma prepares to kick in. Goes straight down the ground. That's confidence for you. Sean White doesn't let him down, although it was a line ball. Colin was there. White had too much height. And again going short. Mark taken by Lovett, who's played fairly well tonight. That's a strong grab by Spalding. He had a very good first quarter, but hasn't done much wrong. Steins lopes down the left half-forward flank. Harrington and Lyon. Chance for Hogg. Hugs the boundary line. In fact, more than hugs it, he's kicked it over the boundary line. So it will be a kick to Newport, it looks like. One of Melbourne's 9 goal kickers. He has 2. Gary Lyon is their leading kick getter tonight, or goal kicker, I should say, with 3 goals. Spencer, late on the scene, clashes with Callett. And the mark taken by Wigney. Over to Justin Charles from fullback, who was involved in that altercation before with, no, it wasn't, it was Harrington. Harrington and Lyon. That's a fine mark to Eccleston. He's been a good contributor tonight, Ian, hasn't he?
Great player, yeah, but he just messed that up a little bit. Little fortunate to get away with a free kick, Greg Eccleston. But he's a tremendous trier. I just see Footscray with a lack of purpose in their kicking. Gee, they've made some shocking mistakes when they've been out in the open, and Melbourne capitalising, giving it to the advantage of their teammates on every opportunity. The ball is at half forward for Footscray, and Lovett will take the free kick.
And Cousins on and Charles off, but also interesting, Rodney Gritter about to come back on. And it's Dersma going off for Melbourne.
Short kick close to the boundary line, the mark taken by Flintoff. And McGuinness about to be confronted there by Grinder, but nothing much in that. Great mark taken by Foster. Sweeping hand pass goes to Collins, and Collins has got the chance to do something with it. Let's see what he can do with this kick. Up towards half forward. Oh, grabbed around the neck with Spalding, and that was pretty plain. Free kick will be taken by the Melbourne big man. Glenn Coleman, a bit of a smile on his face. What can I do about it? But that's not really an answer for an umpire who's already given a decision like that. So Spalding will take the free kick at centre half back for Melbourne, and the Demons will progress to the semi-finals of the Foster's Cup. The kick up towards the centre. Great mark taken by Howard. Gets the hand pass off. Good gather by Flintoff close to the ground. Left foot kick by Flintoff, again to the advantage of his teammate, and Newport takes the mark over the top of Hawkins, who's done pretty well because he suffered a very heavy knock, Doug Hawkins, early in the game. from Rodney Grinter. Newport's kick is high towards full forward. Big punch away. Gather by Collinuk. He's a bit of a goer, as Steve Collinuk. He gathers pretty well. Takes the ball away. Hand pass over the top to Kellett. And if this boy can get a bit of confidence, he could be a player for Footscray as well. The kick up towards half forward. Standing his ground pretty well, Brett Lovett. Hand pass over the top. McGuinness chips in. He's grabbed by Steins. Didn't have the ball. McGuinness should take the free kick. And Jimmy, that was pretty fair. Tony McGuinness will take the free kick for Footscray. John Northey in the picture. The hand pass goes off to Collinuk. Collinuk up towards half forward, and a mark is taken by Mark Williams on the 50-metre line.
That was a bad hand pass by Lovett earlier to Steins. McGuinness finished up with the ball. Now it's with Williams. All through a bad hand pass.
Mark Williams. 1 goal to his name. Can he make it 2? Just gets underneath it a little bit, close to the line. Chance for Wallace. He can't control the ball. It goes over for a boundary throw in the left forward pocket for Footscray. So 23 minutes have gone in this last term. Opportunity for Footscray to score close to final siren time.
84-49. Can the Bulldogs get some respectability into their total? This is Collinuk again. He certainly hasn't been their worst player tonight. A little nippy rover, and they need a few of them out there. Good effort by Greg Eccleston. Just couldn't quite make his ground. And it's going to be a boundary throw in about 65 metres around from the Footscray goal. Steins and Cousins. Collinuk wins out with a good hand pass, tries for Williams. Good tackle by Grinter. No, it wasn't a good tackle by Grinter.
Crude.
Williams goes for a short pass after he's missed a few. It'll be a mark or free kick. Obst just a little bit late on the scene. So Footscray have done well. Now Collins is directly in front. They've done well to fight it out. They were trailed by 27 points at quarter time and looked totally outclassed. The goal umpire doesn't have to move for that kick. It's a goal. 8-7 to 12-12 now in this quarter-final of the Foster's Cup, knocked down by Cousins. This is Obst to Spencer, who had to get rid of it pretty quickly. And Melbourne now through a chain of hand passes get it up towards half forward. Howard's kick going close to goal. Gary Lyon, a chance for his 4th.
And Gary was thinking, I might make a run into an open goal here, but thought better.
Yes, he was almost off, Don, wasn't he?
And watch here is Howard, a good kick by Howard. Lyon, I thought he might have just gone. And Harrington right on his hammer.
So Gary Lyon, no problem with the distance. He'll be only 20 metres out. About a 50-degree angle. And what's he done with that one? Shaved the post for one behind.
That's his 5th point for the night, Peter.
3-5, yes, out of 12-13. So an even 5 goals the difference with 2.5 minutes remaining in the game.
Gee, I would have nearly mortgaged the house then.
Don't.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? When you think they're certainties. Tim Harrington kicks the ball into play for Footscray. Coming to the members' side. Looking here for Foster. It's punched away there by Spencer. And we'll have a boundary throw in. Half forward flank for Melbourne. They've controlled the game from start to finish. They got off to a great start, kicking 3 goals before Footscray even scored. And they really have controlled the match. Foster at centre half back. The kick is well smothered by Newport. Ball comes to the rear now. Eccleston, look at that tackle. Ball on centre wing. Wigney. And again a tackle. Fierceness by Melbourne. They're leading. They will win the game. But by gee, are they lousy on a kick. That was Stephen Clark, the tackler. Wigney in the picture. Boundary throw in.
Outstanding prospect, Wigney.
High over the top, Spencer. Cousins. Kick off the ground by Clark. Back towards centre half forward. Hogg crashing his way through. Wilson making it difficult for him. Wilson still there, looking for the free kick. Umpire not to be sucked in by that, and comes in to bounce the ball.
Brian's really had to earn his free kick since that first one when he got the goal. I think they're onto him. 5 goals the difference. Kellett couldn't get clear. Peter Rode looking for the crumbs. They don't come his way. And it will be a bounce as we tick down towards the siren. Trevor Spencer
worked hard, Peter.
Yeah, great debut, Don. One of the best on the ground. No doubt about that. Cousins in front. He's conceded a free kick here. A play on call, the advantage rule. You heard the umpire. Collins does. Down towards the centre half forward position. That's a juggle. It goes Footscray's way. Good hand pass by Williams to Cullen. 45 metres out, directly in front. Has a shot at goal, but has missed. And one behind only to the Bulldogs, when a goal would have been very useful. 8-8 to 12-13. 29 points is the difference. Sean White with 1:11 left in the match. The clock starts again as he kicks out. Eccleston should go close. Spalding likewise. Grinter had a couple of hands to it. Cullen again gets out another pretty good hand pass. Collins once more from the boundary line. Pretty good snapshot in towards the 10-metre square. Sean White a chance to mark. Road offloaded as he kicks down towards Cullen again. Just wasn't quite sure whether he had the mark. Umpire said okay, not the best pass. Collins nearly runs out of room. Centering kick, and that's an atrocious pass. Certainly put McGuinness right under the hammer. But look at this Melbourne defence. They've manned up all night.
Footscray have had about 8 possessions there and gone 5 metres forward.
And about 6 sideways here.
Oh, terrible.
Anyway, Tony
They've got to
McGuinness
have a really good look at this this tape, Peter, I think, and just they've had a lot of possessions. They just don't do enough with the ball.
Agreed. And Tony McGuinness right on 50. He hooks the kick. 2-on-1 in favour of Melbourne. Lovett picks it up. And here come the Demons again through Stephen Clark. He had a great first quarter. Newport's played a great game. He's had a fine last quarter. Up towards centre wing. And Brian Wilson takes the mark as the siren goes. Melbourne through to the semi-finals of the Foster's Cup. So Melbourne running out victorious, 12 goals, 13-85. They kicked 4 goals, 1 in the final quarter. The Footscray, 8-8, 56, 29 points in it in the end. And remember that the lead at quarter time was 27 points. So the Bulldogs went kick for kick with them virtually for the last 3 quarters, but you can't give a side like Melbourne nearly 5 goals started.
No, they're a very disciplined team, Melbourne, and they do it pretty well. I can't ever remember when John Northey was playing football, Don, that he was such a desperate player. But obviously tackling must have been a part of his game that he really concentrates on, doesn't he, when he's trying to give this Melbourne side some sort of a impetus for their performance.
I think you've also got to mention their character too, because they never give up, and that's a sign of character.
Okay, there it is, 29-point victory to the Demons, and they're through to the seconds. 9-point win to Melbourne. Gary Lyon got 3 goals and Steve Newport 2. The rest were singles for the Demons. And for Footscray, Colin York got 3 goals and O'Keefe got 2. Melbourne through into the semi-finals as we look at the draw in this competition. And Melbourne now will play the winner of the match between Essendon and Fitzroy. More Foster's Cup action tomorrow from Canberra, and it will be the final first-round match between Hawthorn and the Sydney Swans. And next Wednesday night, we have the second quarter-final of the Foster's Cup. It's between Essendon and Fitzroy. So plenty of football and plenty of sport coming up on 7 tomorrow. A great sports day beginning with Sports World at 9 a.m. through until noon. And of course, don't forget the football tomorrow afternoon. It begins at 1:55 live from the Bruce Stadium in Canberra. Hawthorn and the Sydney Swans. The last first-round match in this competition, and of course at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon, the first round of the Australian Touring Cars Championship live from Amaroo Park. Join us tomorrow. More sport on 7. Good night.